Hey everybody, this is Starjump Grim. Let me know if you can hear me okay, doing an audio check, and we will get started here. Thanks everybody for hanging out tonight. North, thank you very much. Resubscribe with Prime. Appreciate you. 3 months now. 5x5. All right, everybody, let's get started, shall we? Give me 1 second. All right. Hey, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Oh, look, well, we already just had something. What was that? Thank you very much for that subscription, North. Appreciate that. I think that was the Kraken going overhead. Hey, everybody. Hope you're well. Thanks for hanging out tonight. We have a new follow. Alistor. Alistor, thank you very much. You just sent the Javelin overhead. Part-time badass. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Got some new follows coming in. Appreciate that. Did we get rated, or is this just new people hanging out tonight? Giving us some follows. Dogman THC with the follow. Oh my goodness. Where are the Kraken? The Kraken's going to need fuel, everyone. The Kraken is going to need fuel. Dogman saying to stretch. Thank you for those follows. Appreciate it. I'm stretching. My shirt is a little dirty. Sorry about that. Got a dog. I'm a dog person. What are you going to do? All right. Only had hit the button on YouTube. Well, Alistair, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming over to Twitch and hitting that follow as well. I do appreciate it. As you all know, I do stream to both YouTube and Twitch using Restream to serve both communities. I have both myself and Starjump as a whole. We have great communities on both YouTube and Twitch. Want to make sure we service both communities as best we can. If you're over on one but don't venture to the other much, please do so. It really does help. We are trying to grow the YouTube channel. I would love to eventually get Starjump to over 20K subscribers. We're currently at 14,100, something like that. And we don't post super regularly, so I'm pretty impressed by that. So I think you know, with the more regular posting we're doing and content, we shouldn't have any issue getting to 20K. So share us with your friends, your communities, all that good stuff. If you like my content, for sure, appreciate that. First off, I hope you're all well. If you've been following the YouTube schedule, so for those that don't know, you can go to YouTube, and I have Wicked Wookie. Thank you for that follow. I don't know what to do. You guys are like crazy with the follows tonight. Appreciate that. Salute to you all. Thank you very much. Pushing that javelin across the screen multiple times. Thank you very much. But for those of you that follow the YouTube schedule, if you go over to YouTube and go to the live schedule, I do have a schedule posted there. I am working on a better calendar, but I'm trying to keep the YouTube calendar and the Twitch schedule updated every week. The only problem is that things switch sometimes and juggle, push back a day, push back a few hours. I wish I didn't have to do that, but my life is just that way. You know, I have a 9-year-old daughter, very active in her life. I have a wife that I try to spend as much time as I can with. I have a very busy job, so things just sometimes have to move. As you all know, Shipyard, the ship talk show that we're doing right now, is usually during the middle of the day on Tuesdays, which I do on my lunch break for work, but I needed to switch it to tonight. So I appreciate you all hanging with me and putting up with my constant schedule switches. I know most content creators try to stick to a hard and fast schedule. It's going to be kind of impossible for me. So Wicked Wookie says he thought he was already following, but you know what? It never hurts to check. Thank you very much, Wicked. Thank you, everybody that's followed tonight. That is so awesome. I really appreciate that. Pushing those follower numbers ever higher. So I do appreciate that. Let's get a couple top of things out of the way so that we can sort of get to the content. This is Starjump Shipyard. This is our ship discussion show. Most of the time it's just me. Occasionally I have guests, just sort of depends. Tonight I think you're stuck with just me. Hopefully that's okay. We're going to be talking all about the Aegis Javelin destroyer. We're going to be going back in time. We're going to be reviewing a lot of what it was and where it evolved to and where it is now. And because I like you all so much, we're going to crack open the 3D file, the in-game model, and we're going to look at the interior. But I am going to say that it's not going to be like beautiful looking. 90s, thank you very much for that follow. Javelin overhead. The Javelin is perfect for tonight's episode, isn't it? We're not going to... Don't get too stuck on it looking beautiful and stuff. It's not going to be all textured. It's just going to be the 3D model mesh. But we'll be able to get a good sense of what the Javelin looks like. We'll kind of check out some decks. We'll be able to check out the bridge and stuff like that. Again, not textured, but it's kind of a unique way to view it. I don't have a textured file for it right now. I hope to soon, though. I hope too soon. Chris Drake says, I hope they have invariants for the Javelins. Well, we're going to get into that. We're going to get all into that. Real quick, though. As you all know, we're doing St. Jude Play Live right now for the month of April and May. This is a big Starjump Guardians or Starjump initiative. As you know, my good buddy Starjump Ender, another member of Starjump, spearheads this every year. I'm helping out this year, trying to push the numbers higher and higher. Ender just got back like a week or two ago from the St. Jude Play Live Summit, Creator Summit out in Tennessee. It went absolutely great. It's a great we got something coming. Mootkins just donated $160 towards an Anvil Hurricane. Oh my goodness, Mootkins, thank you, salute to you. Mootkins, for that big one, you are getting the double salute emoji right there. You're getting the 007, and I'm just going to let it run, so you're actually getting more than a 007 salute. Thank you very much, Mootkins. That is very, very generous of you. And very, very appreciated. Many of you have donated multiple times, by the way, and really, really appreciate that. Now, here's something I want to stress. This money that you donate via our Tiltify link to St. Jude does not come to Starjump at all. It's 100% pass-through straight to Tiltify and then to St. Jude Hospital. We don't touch it. We don't want to touch it. It's straight to the hospital. It does not come through Starjump. We do have some great raffles. Let me go through some of those real quick, actually. Let me pull up the raffle schedule. We have a couple raffles going on right now. We have an RSI Polaris Corvette. If you do a $100 donation, you can get a ticket to an RSI Polaris Corvette with LTI. We're doing that drawing tomorrow, actually. Okay, this is our first Polaris. We have another one very, very soon. Oh, Mootkins, did that push us to 20? Let me go back. That pushed us to $26,000, everybody. $26,000. Absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
Eagle 0013 with another 30. Another $30. Thank you very much, Eagle. Salute to you as well. You're all legendary. I really appreciate it. Look at that number right here, everybody. $9,597 raised. That's absolutely incredible. That's all because of you. You're kicking ass. We really appreciate it. Ender really appreciates it. By the way, if you have not followed... Oh, there's Ender right now. If you haven't followed Ender, make sure you go and follow Ender's channel as well. There it is up in chat. But thank you all. That is $26,040 raised. And while I'm helping out this year, that lifetime raised amount goes back several years. The Ender's been primarily spearheading this. And I want you all to give Ender a salute in chat. I think he is playing D&D tonight, though, so we'll let him get back to his D&D game. But everyone give Ender the old 07 for all of his hard work, sacrifice over the last few years. So really, really cool. If you want to donate, all you have to do is go to the Tiltify link. I'm putting that in Twitch right now. That'll pop up with that donate thing. If you're on YouTube, I have the Tiltify link pinned to the top of chat. Okay. Well, again, going back to the raffles, we have the RSI Polaris Corvette raffle going on right now. Oh, Eagle just donated another $5 for a No More Chemo party. Thank you very much, Eagle. We have an RSI Polaris Corvette. We're giving that away tomorrow. Okay, so you still have time to get on that. We'll be giving away another RSI Polaris in May. Also really cool, okay? That was donated by GearCon. GearCon, thank you very much. On May 3rd, for a $20 donation, you'll receive an Anvil Hurricane ticket with LTI, donated by our good friend Bingo Winchester in chat. Everyone give Bingo a little salute there. Absolutely amazing of him. One of our big Starjump supporters has actually helped me personally at events and is an honorary Starjump member for sure. But he has an Anvil Hurricane he has donated. We'll be doing that giveaway on May 3rd. Still one of the, still a really powerful heavy fighter. So really, really cool there. Ender, no problem, buddy. I did not see you streaming, but I assumed you were doing D&D. Love you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. If I end before you, I will definitely give you a raid, my brother. But again, thank you everybody for the donations. For some reason, it's really hot in my office tonight. Okay. Last but not least, we have a Nomad Lovestruck starter pack we're giving away on May 6th. That is a $10 donation to the St. Jude with Tiltify link. We'll be doing those drawings on each one of the days listed. Thank you very much for our prize donators. We really appreciate that. We still have much more to come, though. These are not our only raffles, okay? Throughout the month of May, we've got a bunch more ships we're going to be giving away. We have another RSI Polaris Corvette. We have an Anvil Carrack. We have a Gladius Valiant. We have an Anvil Hawk, one of VMXCO's favorite ships. Big shout out to VM if he's in chat. And we have a Super Hornet. We also have Starjump Challenge coins. We're giving away some custom liveries and Starjump Starjump Fleet Viewer. We got all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a fun May. I'm actually really, really excited. But tomorrow night, we're going to do a special Guardians episode. I think Ender's going to be on there with me, and we are going to give away the RSI Polaris Corvette. Okay. Super cool. Super cool. Okay. So that is it for that. Thank you all for the donations. You all have just kicked the door down on this stream already. So really, really appreciate that. That is amazing. I'm going to switch over. Let me pull up. Oh, Part-Time Badass donated $25 to help unlock 1 day of meals. Thank you very much, Part-Time. Appreciate you. Salute to you. Everyone, we're at $9,627. Will we get to $10,000 tonight? Anything is possible. Anything is possible because we got an incredible community. VMXEO in chat says, Hawk, best light fighter. I would agree. You know what? I would say this about the Hawk. One of my favorite things about the Hawk is it looks like a Decepticon, so I love the Hawk. All right, everyone, we do have some stuff to cover here real quick, though, before we jump into the Javelin. The Quantum Vegas 2955 Star Citizen show in Las Vegas is only 73 days away. Going to be at Saturday, July 12th at Area 15. This is going to be a fantastic event. I have finally confirmed that I'm going to go. It's a little up in the air for a bit. I got a lot of stuff going on, but I will be there. Really cool event. I'm going to show you some of the guests that are scheduled to be there. We're going to have DePoets. That is going to be one of the guest hosts and moderators there. You all know DePoets. He does absolutely great tech content. We're going to have both Nate and Kim Ellis from EE Studios. They make amazing machinimas. They're going to be there doing a panel. I'm also going to have them as guests on a Starjump Station episode coming up very, very soon. Okay. So I'm really excited for that. I've been meaning to have them on Starjump Station for quite a few years. We also have Sean Tracy, Senior Director of Tools and Tech Content at Cloud Imperium Games. He'll be doing a panel. It's going to be really cool. You don't want to miss that. Cloud Imperium employees. We'll have Serious Fun acting as the show moderator. Serious Fun is absolutely amazing. I need to get up with him, actually. Griffin Gaming RPG from Soul Citizens, also a moderator. And you got to remember, everyone, a lot of the Soul Citizens group, Griffin Gaming, a lot of them, they're the ones putting on this event. So it's going to be really cool. We have Commander Fran, who's going to be the global coordinator for the event. As you well know, he puts on the big Beacon Festival or Beacon Experience in Europe. Starjump has put in on that as well, so that'll be really exciting that he's now involved. Really great, really nice guy, by the way. We have two other CIG employees that'll be there. Galactica, Senior Social Media Manager, and Tyler Whitkin, otherwise known as Xylo, will also be there in attendance. Nick at Night will be a special guest. Great to see him. Last saw him at the Equinox event. Paul Shelley, the Astro Historian himself, and the Astro Pub will be there doing a panel on creator content, so very excited about that. Paul is absolutely great. Had me on a show not too long ago. And then last but not least, yours truly, Starjump Graham, will be there. I'll be doing a show on spaceships or a panel on spaceships, so that should be interesting. But again, go here, check it out. There's a lot of great sponsors. I think there's going to be a lot of cool prizes and giveaways and raffles and all kinds of cool stuff. We got sponsors including Cloud Imperium, Elgato, Icon City, Monster Tech, Thrustmaster. The list goes on and on. Atmo Esports is going to be there. Starjump's a sponsor, so that'll be really cool. Again, a lot of work going into it. It's going to be really, really cool. One thing I will point out to everyone, Tickets are on sale right now till April 30th, till tomorrow for the $75 price. That's the inaugural admission. After April 30th, starting on May 1st, they go to early admission price, which is $99. And then from after that, they go up to $125. Okay. Tibbles just donated $60 towards a Love Struck starter pack. Tibbles, also a multi-donator for this charity. Thank you very much, Tibbles. You're rocking and rolling. Do I just need to do the salutes all night? I appreciate it. 1 second, everybody. Let's see here. But again, really cool event. I'm excited to be there. Zaku2142 donating $100. Salute to everyone. We got to go. We are $9,787. Holy crap hole. Are we going to hit 10K tonight? I think we're going to hit 10K tonight. That's the goal, everybody. You're all pushing it. Zaku, giving you the big salute as well. Incredible. I gotta send this to Ender. Just so many donations. Everyone in chat, you're all donating like crazy because you're all amazing. We love you here at Starjump. This money goes straight to sick kids and their families. It does not come to us. Thank you very much. Zaku, appreciate you. Tibbles, appreciate you. All of you. Part-Time Badass, Eagle, I mean, just all of you Mootkins coming in. Just so many great donations. Thank you very much, everybody. We're pushing it. We're going to hit 10K tonight. I can feel it. Let's see here. Okay. Here we go. All right. So get in on this if you can. I will definitely be there. I'm hoping to have some Starjump swag. I'd love to meet you all there. Any of you going. If you see me there, if you are going and you see me there, grab me. Pull me aside. Let's talk. Let's talk spaceships. I always love doing that. I love talking to the Starjump community, but also the wider Star Citizen community. I am going to do whatever we can to get Starjump Ender out there as well. So that'd be really cool. But yes, thank you all. Seriously amazing for your donations. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get to it, everybody. You've heard me talk for long enough. 17 minutes on charity, Quantum Vegas, highlighting you, right? All needed stuff. We had to talk about it, but now we got to move over to the main topic. The Aegis Javelin Destroyer. What is this ship? Let's go over a brief primer on what this ship is, and then we're going to dive into some stuff. We're actually going to watch a few videos too. Hope you're all okay with that. We're going to watch a few videos. We're going to do some re-education on the Javelin, learn a little bit more about it so that we can talk about it. I am thinking about doing a Shipyard episode on the Javelin, a pre-recorded one. I'm currently working on a Shipyard episode on the Nautilus, thinking about moving to the Javelin after that. I am currently at the very beginning phases of doing a one on the Genesis Starliner. Big shout out, by the way, to Astro Chronicles, great YouTube channel, by the way. Astro has supplied me with an updated Genesis model, so I'm very appreciative of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up some stuff here. Sorry, I got off my windows here. Okay, here we go. Okay, the Aegis Javelin Destroyer. This is a 480-meter long military ship. Cody Fox says, "Oh, I'm glad to hear Astro Chronicles is still on." He is. He's not doing YouTube content right now or Star Citizen content. I think he kind of burned himself out a little bit. It's a lot of hard work what he does. But I told him we all appreciated what he did, and I hope he does come back and start making stuff again. But super nice person. Super nice person. But the Aegis Javelin Destroyer, it is 480 meters long. It is a capital for sure military ship. We're going to unlock our canvas here. And let's go to extra large and let's pull in our things here. It is a 400-meter long ship manufactured by Aegis. It is classified as a destroyer. It has a crew of 65 at last we heard, meaning, and remember that crew count means that its life support systems are supposed to support up to a crew that big. You could probably expand further than that and stretch it a bit. Starjump Starlet in chat. Everyone give Starlet a big ol' 07. I also see Lazy Donuts in chat. Give Lazy a nice 07. But Starlet, I hope you're well. We're looking at Starjump Fleet Viewer right now. If any of you in chat enjoy Starjump Fleet Viewer, You need to give a big 07 down there to VMXEO and Starjump Starlet. Both of them are in chat right now. Without them two, there would be no Starjump Fleet Viewer. That's 100%. 100%. But the ship is supposed to be able to carry or support a crew of up to about 65, give or take. And it has a current listed SCU capacity of 5,400, which is actually pretty insane. I wonder if that number's correct. We're going to double check that. I don't know where the cargo goes on this, but that's a lot of cargo. That's more than a whole sea. So that's pretty crazy. The Javelin Destroyer is a key player in Squadron 42. For those of you that watched the gameplay session for Squadron 42 from last CitizenCon, you'll notice that they played through the prologue of the game. The prologue starts with your character on the Aegis Destroyer, the UEES Gauntlet. There we go, which is a Javelin. That is in the game. You are a turret gunner on that Javelin, and more specifically, let me just switch to HD mode here. More specifically, you're a turret gunner on one of these big guns right here. As a matter of fact, I think it's literally this gun right here, the port side rear top-mounted turret. So that is the turret you man in the Squadron 42 prologue. And the idea there is that you start the game aboard the Javelin, and obviously as the events unfold there at the Battle of Vega and the prologue, that will eventually transition to your character being assigned to the UES. Is it the Stanton? Or is it a different ship for Squadron 42? Either way, you get assigned to an Idris, and then the Idris sort of becomes your home for the main story of Squadron 42. So if you've ever heard Kiri says yes on that. Okay, Stanton, yes, okay. And we're going to look at the basketball court, Kiri. But if you've ever heard that term thrown around a lot about the Squadron 42 hero ships, this is what they mean in regards to the Javelin and the Idris, okay? They're the hero ships of Star Citizen technically because they're the heroes in Squadron 42. They're the ships that our character is assigned to both prologue and through the main game. Now, there may be other ships we became assigned to. Maybe our Aegis gets destroyed and we move to. I don't know where the story goes. Actually, that's one place I am not queued up on much is the Squadron 42 story. For that, you'd have to hunt out Paul Shelley over there at the Astro Historian. But in general, these two ships are your key hero ships. Okay, so why did I want to talk about the Javelin? Well, there's been a lot of leaks to come out over the last few days, specifically in regards to, just a second, I want to try something out. There we go. Okay. Specifically in regards to the Idris. There's been a lot of leaks. We know we're going to have an Idris experience tour at Invictus launch week coming up in just a matter of 15 days, about 15 days away from it. Crimson Hawk says, love seeing the Gauntlet and other cap ships in the fleet equipped with varying types of guns, not just repeaters or ballistic. Yeah, I agree. There was a lot of different types of firepower there. Anyway, we've heard a lot of updates about the Idris, right? Now, if we go back to CitizenCon 2953, so not last CitizenCon, but the year before that, John Cruz specifically, excuse me, talked about the Idris and the Javelin. And he talked about that the Idris would be going to backers' hands in your hangars when Squadron 42 comes out, and that the the Javelin would then come to backers a little bit after that. And the reason was that they wanted to, again, obviously do a pass on the ship to get it up to PU standards, but also they wanted to kind of think out its modularity, think out what that would be, and all that kind of good stuff. We are going to watch a video that does highlight what some of those I guess you could call it a variant, but what some of those modulars turn the Javelin into. So for those of you that didn't know, the Javelin is actually a modular ship. It has, I believe, 6 modular rooms on it. 6 modular rooms. CM, this is my first damn time on live stream. CM99, I'm calling you out. Your first time on live stream, catching it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, everybody. So again, a lot of people don't know that, but the Javelin is a modular ship. Now, some people are calling it out here. Cody Fox, appreciate it. The one on the PTU right now is the Idris P. I'm not sure which Idris they have in for the experience, but what I do know is that the Idris Tour is on the PTU right now. I heard it's crashing pretty bad, so I heard that it's pretty up and down. But I believe it's the first time they've pushed it up. So I would give it a few more passes, and then we'll see it. It'll be a little bit more stable in the PTU, so you can check it out. Now, Cody Fox is saying it's the P for the tour. That would be interesting because it's be the first time we've really seen the P in game. But again, that's the Idris. We're going to switch it back over here because we have all these updates coming for the Idris. There's a lot of rumors. I've done polls on my streams about how possibly the Idris could come to backers a little early because for all intents and purposes, for everything we know, both myself and other content creators, we had heard that Squadron 42 was going to be launching around fall last year. Okay. That didn't happen, obviously. Okay. And CIG pivoted. However, because of that pivot, they had already, for 18 months before that, had been working on getting the Idris and Javelin up to par for the PU, right? Getting all those like PU things that need to be in a ship in the ships. So that brings us up to a question. The question is, would CIG go ahead and release the Idris to backers? That's been a big question. A lot of us have been debating. I've been debating it. And again, we are going to get back to the Javelin discussion, but this kind of ties in. So the question is, would the Idris come to backers early? Because CIG's already been working on it. Squadron wasn't ready, but the ship teams have already been working on the Idris, and maybe they just kind of need to get the Idris out and over so they can move those people onto the other ships. Maybe they don't want to shelve it again. They still could possibly hold it for Squadron 42. I really don't know what their plan is. But one of the big keys there was that some code strings came into the Evo build that showed insurance claim timers for the Idris. We also had our first mention of the Idris P, the Idris K, the size 10 bearing laser weapon, which is part of the K upgrade kit, and just a lot of updates coming to the Idris. Now, that could be just prep for next year when the Idris does come to backers' hands with the Launcher Squadron. Totally could be that, 100%. Or it could mean that perhaps the Idris is coming to us a little early to kind of tide us over because of the squadron push to 2026, right? What that could mean, and we'll get back to the Javelin now, is where they originally said that the Javelin would come later after the launch of Squadron because they need to figure out some of the stuff with it. What we could be seeing is maybe CIG is trying to get into a place where the Idris can go into backers sooner rather than later so that they can move over and focus on the Javelin and then the Javelin launch with Squadron 42 next year in 2026. Right? Now, do I think that's going to happen? I honestly do not know. I'm about a 50-50 split on it. My pessimistic side, though, is unfortunately winning out. So I guess I'd say I'm a 51-49 split. I think that they will hold off on releasing the Idris, but there's enough breadcrumbs present in the game files to suggest the Idris could drop sooner than we think. Now, I'm not saying it's dropping at Invictus. I'm not saying it's dropping at IAE. I'm just saying that there's some breadcrumbs that seem to suggest the Idris is being prepped to go to backers. Okay. Now, that's aside from the exterior rework stuff. That's a whole other discussion, which we will get to here as we talk about the Javelin. But just taking all this into account, how does that affect the Javelin? Well, I would hope, again, that if they're finishing up that Idris work, because remember, they got a lot of ships in development. They're working on the Ironclad. They're working on the Pioneer. They're working on, all kinds of ships. The Apollos, the Paladins. They got a lot of ships to work on. They can't just have the Idris taking up pipeline forever. And remember, the minimum work time for a lot of these ships is 18 months. Now, that wouldn't probably be the case for the Idris to get it ready for the PU, but I guarantee you it's been a lot of work. So, Kiri says here, and I actually completely agree with you, Kiri. there really is no good reason to hold off on getting this shipped to us anymore. The Aegis, I mean. Right? As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and, since we're talking about it a lot, let's go ahead and bring it up here. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring it up here. Oops. Where am I lock my canvas? There we go. Yeah, there's really no reason to hold off on getting us the Aegis at this point. Okay. Lady Space Patrol says it's unethical to withhold a customer's product for no reason. I would say this, lady. I don't totally disagree with you either. I would say this. I think it's unethical for CIG to withhold the ship if it's finished. Up to this point, it has not been finished for the PU. It really hasn't. There was a lot of stuff not PU ready on the Aegis, as someone who's looked through the game files pretty deeply. However, I agree with you. If they've updated it for the PU, release it to the backers who have paid for it. I completely agree with you on that. I know I white knight a lot for CIG, but I fully believe that. Plus, so many people have stolen this ship and commandeered it and flown it. The luster is gone. So could CIG follow suit the same way they did with the F8C and the F7A Mark II? It's possible. It's possible. And then that allows us to then consider the same for the Javelin, right? Allows us to consider the same for the Javelin. And I'd be curious to talk to Execute about this, but what I feel like this means, based off CIG's ship development time, that would really make sense for the Javelin to be mostly ready for the Squadron 42 launch. Now, I caveat that perhaps its modules will not be ready, but I think what you could is just create the base modules that go in those modular rooms. So essentially, whatever the Squadron 42 one is, and give that one to us, and then the other modules come later. I think you could do that because CIG has never sold those separately. And what we were told by John Crew is that unless it was on the store and sold, CIG is not committed to making it yet. That's what we were told. I don't know if anyone's ever heard that before, but when Execute and Algrid met with John Crew and Ben Curtis, they said that unless, now this was in reference to the Galaxy base building module technically, but what John Crew said was unless it was sold on the store, not said or not talked about, but sold as a SKU, then they weren't legally required to build it, right? Because things change, right? Cody Fox says if they release the Javelin next year with Squadron 42, that will free up a lot of resources with the Kraken. So, well, fundamentally, yeah. So at this IAE, the one at the end of this year, or CitizenCon, this year CitizenCon, or the digital CitizenCon, when they inevitably show us the next silhouette video, I 100% think, or I shouldn't say 100%, I 99% think the Kraken will be in that silhouette video for this sitcom. So, Javelin. What you're looking at here, by the way, too, I want to express to everyone, is the Javelin model as we've always known it to be in modern times, right? This is technically the UES Gauntlet, or no, which is the one, the Warhammer. This is technically the UES Warhammer model. That you're seeing here. The Warhammer model is the one that is parked at Jericho Station. It's assigned to the Stanton system. This is the game model file. You can see, because I can zoom down, you can see the bridge information in here, all that kind of good stuff. So this is the game file model. Now, this is technically the legacy model, in my opinion. You can tell because it's got the old school engines and stuff. We are going to talk about the newer model later on. What I am going to do real quick, though, is get into some nitty-gritty on this. So let me bring up the ship page real quick here. Bear with me, everybody. Okay, so we're going to go through a few things here. Where is the armament? Bear with me, bear with me. Let me get to that. Let me get to that. Hold one. Okay, where is the armament? Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Let me see if they've updated this. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so real quick. First things first, let's switch to frontal view real quick here. I want to show everybody. Now, those of you should be able to see these two circles here. For those that didn't know, these are torpedo tubes. There's still a lot of people out there that do not know that the Javelin is a torpedo boat. Well, it's a destroyer, but torpedoes are a big part of its arsenal. And these are size 12 torpedoes, by the way. Size 12 torpedoes. Does anyone remember how many torpedoes it can carry? I think it has 24 total. I think it's 24 it's 12 per rack, and there's 2 racks. So I think it's 24 size 12 torpedoes. And if anyone in chat knows that I'm wrong, let me know. Always good to change my thing there. Now, I don't want to get too specific into the turret sizes, and there's a big reason here. And that's because I'm pretty positive the turrets have changed yet again in the newest Squadron 42 gameplay trailer. And we don't know if that is going to filter down into the PU version, right? We don't know yet. Or sorry, we do not know that yet. Now, originally when the Javelin was sold, by the way, it was sold with it was supposed to be sold sort of empty, and you were going to put together the weapons. I'm going to be honest with you, I do not think that is still the case. I think when we get our Javelins, we're going to get them fully outfitted. Now, what I think is going to happen, now this is speculation too, I don't want anyone to bet your house on this, but what I think is going to happen is we're going to get a base armament loadout for the Javelin, and then you're going to have some upgrade paths that you can strive to in game. So I think you're going to be able to up-arm it. I think you're going to be able to add bigger turrets to certain areas and stuff, especially when it comes to turrets, okay? Let's see here. Kiri says 2 quad size 9, 6 dual size 7 / dive 4s, or size 4. Can't talk. These are those dual size 7 size 4s. So you got dual size 7s right here, and then on the top mount there are some size 4s. Does it show it here? Let me see. Oops, bear with me, everybody. Let me see if I zoom in. Does it show it? You can barely see it, but there's some small size 4s on here as well. So these guns, these turrets here, and you saw this in the squadron thing, they actually have 2 sets of guns on there. Dual size 7, dual size 4. Okay, dual size 4 for fighters, dual size 7 for larger ships. Okay. So here's where it gets a little weird. There's the 2 quad size 9. These are the quad size 9 mounts. Currently, on the in-game Javelin, there's a top gun and a bottom gun. Okay, if I go to the side view, you can see both. Okay, here we go. You can see there is a top quad 9 and a bottom quad 9. Now, why do I say currently? I say currently because if you go back and look at the history of the Javelin, all throughout its development, and we're going to look at some of these videos in just a minute, you will notice that the one thing on the Javelin that changes the most is that turret. At times, it has been a dual turret. At times, it has been a quad turret. At times, there have been different types of guns on it, and they show this in different trailers. I don't know if they were just kept changing it up for gameplay reasons in Squadron or what, and maybe the dual size or the quad size 9s is originally what we were supposed to get. But Kiri says originally it was only one turret that had dual size 8s. I remember the dual size 8, yep, and it would travel on the rail between the top and bottom. That's interesting. I didn't know that, Kiri. That's interesting to know. Where I'm going with this, though, everybody, is that turret has changed a lot, right? So it could change again, or perhaps that is one of the hard points that has an upgrade path past just the base loadout. Here's what I don't think will happen. I do not think that they will put this ship into the game with no weapons, right? And force you to outfit the ship. which was originally sort of talked about at one point. And the reason I don't think they're going to do that is because, for one, I do think there'd be some not legal issues with it, but some good faith issues with that someone could attempt some legal stuff with. But more importantly than that, it would just be bad press, and it's unnecessary. So for me, I do think we'll get a base loadout with this ship. Scissor says it would be funny, though. It'd be some backlash. Oh, yeah. You'd get the Kotaku article all day long. You definitely get the Kotaku article all day long. 100%. 100%. So I don't think they're going to do that. Crimson Ox says, do you think the base would include the bespoke weapons? I do. I think the base would include I actually think the base would include essentially the weapon loadout we see here on the UES Warhammer. And then what I think could happen is there would be upgrade pass for some of these bottom turrets. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure some of these bottom turrets, like down here, have changed according to the squadron trailer. So it's very possible they've changed. Another thing that is not accounted for here, and that's not accounted in the weapon breakdown of this ship, is the PDCs, the point defense cannons. Now, I did a rough count from the squadron trailer. Just on the bottom of the ship, I think I was able to count 14 point defense cannons just on the bottom of the ship. If we have the same number on the top, we're coming up on like 30 point defense cannons on the ship. And those of you that have flown a Polaris have seen what a point defense cannon can do and deal with, right? So imagine 14 just on your underside. And I could be underestimating because I didn't even see the very back of the ship. Just in this midsection alone, so from about here to here, in one of the scenes I was able to count 14. Right? It was hard to count, but yeah. VG says, question, what modules have you heard about for the Javelin? We're going to look at that. We're going to look at a video that goes through that. As a matter of fact, everyone, I think what we're going to do is we're going to watch one of the initial Javelin blockout videos. This goes all the way back to 9 years ago, December 16, 2015. So this is an old video. It's only about 3 minutes long. We're going to watch it. We just got, what did we get here? What did we get? Why am I missing it? Hold on a minute. Is it Cooch? Let me pull this screen up so I can see better. $85 donation by Cooch. Cooch, thank you very much. A new toy for the hospital. Thank you very much, Cooch. Pushing us to $9,872. Everyone, never in the history of the Starjump Guardians Play Live initiative have we hit $10,000 in 1 month. Tomorrow is April 30th.
Thank you.
Are we going to hit it? Oh my God, Scissor Fuzz just pushed us $100. Oh my goodness, a red wagon for St. Jude and an RSI Polaris with LTI ticket that we're giving away tonight. Scissor Fuzz, Cooch, thank you very much. Saluting to you. Oh my goodness, that means we are a stone throw from $10,000 raised for the first month. That will break all of our records, everybody. We've never done anything like that. This community is absolutely amazing. Give yourselves a big 07. Oh my goodness. Let's go ahead. Let me get one thing set up here. Okay. Absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see who hits us over the 10K mark. It's absolutely incredible. Only $28 away. Bingo, you're absolutely correct. Salute to all of you. Scissor Fuzz and Cooch coming in big, coming in hard, kicking the doors down. Zaku earlier, Tibbles, Eagle, part-time. We've had so many people coming in with donations tonight. I am truly humbled. And there it is. Oh, my goodness.
Thank you.
Frog, Dry Frog with a $25 donation. 1 day of meals for a patient. Absolutely incredible, Dry Frog. Saluting to you. Boom, boom, boom. Giving you the big salute. Oh my goodness. Anonymous with a $10 donation. New toy for hospital play areas and the Nomad Lovestruck starter kit. Oh my goodness. We just passed 10K. Oh my God. I got a message in there, everybody. I got a message in there. Absolutely amazing. All right, where's my double salute? I got to pull it up. Where's the double salute? There it is. Shlaboom. We'll just let that play for a minute, everybody. We're going to marinate in this for a minute. Anonymous with the $10 donation. Dry Fog, Scissor Fuzz, Cooch, already pushing us to 10K tonight, along with everyone else that has donated. That's incredible. Starjump has never done that. Starjump has never done 10K in 1 month. That is all to you all. I want everyone in chat right now to give yourselves a salute. I know I've said it before. Give yourselves a salute. You all impressed the hell out of me. I feel very humbled. Yeah, holy shit. It's incredible. Thank you. Starjump Ender in chat, everybody. Give Starjump Ender another salute. This is his baby. He's been doing the Starjump Play Live initiatives for Starjump for years now. This has been his baby. I know he's ecstatic right now. This money going to these sick kids and their families. We were going to wax Ender bald. No hair on his head, no beard, no body hair, no armpits hair. If we can keep raising money, Ender will be bald by the time we get to the end of this. Okay? That I can promise. All right. Again, you all are amazing. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. Okay, let's continue it though, right? We're talking Javelin. We're having a good time. We're going to watch the block out. Hope you don't mind watching some videos with me here. I know watching videos can sometimes be a little bit okay, but a lot of people don't like that. But we're going to watch some videos here. This first one is the holiday live stream from 2015.
Thank you.
Tailgater and/or Ape in Space coming in with a $10 donation. New toy for hospital play areas. Thank you very much, Tailgater. Salute to you. Love you. Ender's got to make an 11K milestone. You got to get on that, Ender. I don't know what to say. I do not know what to say. You got to get some sort of milestone in there, brother. Everything I can think of is too explicit too. Unfortunately, you can't wax your Brazilian area. But we'll think of something. We're going to watch the Javelin blockout video, everyone. Here we go. Thank you very much. We love you all of you in chat. Seriously, I'm almost a little bit choked up right now because of the massive amount of donations tonight. We've only been streaming for about 45 minutes, too. So absolutely incredible. Nice job. All right, I'm going to shrink myself down a little bit so I'm not so annoyingly big. Here we go. Let's do it. Starjump hot tub stream. Yeah, we need to. One thing I want to point out, this block out here from 2015, here's something that's kind of crazy about it. When we pull up the 3D files of the interior here shortly, you're going to see that it actually has not changed much. It's pretty much the same layout from 2015. So it's 2025 now. So it's the same layout for at least 10 years. Okay. Keep going. Yeah, we need another 10K for the hot tub stream. But we can do it. We can definitely do it. Now you'll see here in 2015, let me turn down the audio. We are seeing a lot of interior white boxing still, but some areas are starting to flesh out here, like engineering. Got one of the coolest engineering areas ever. You can see some missing parts and pieces here. Those are probably due to instancing, not the fact that they haven't been made yet. It's probably due to an instance being turned off. This is back when they were still figuring out that Aegis kit, okay? But we're going to hear more about the Aegis kit here in just a minute. Again, this is very early Javelin blockout from 2015. Love the big windows. You'll see that on both hero ships, Idris and Javelin. Hey, Execute. Hope you're well. Salute to you. Habitation room. We are going to look at that on the mesh files too. It's actually a pretty big area. Runs along the spine of the ship. We're going to take a detailed look at that. Well, not detailed, but we'll take a look at it. One of the turret accesses. Again, love the big windows. I think it's one of my favorite things about the Idris and the Javelin. A lot of corridors in this ship. If they don't turn this ship into a first-person level, I'm telling you. All right, this is access to the early hangar. The hangar did evolve quite a bit. A lot of these parts and pieces, too, borrowed from the Idris kit. And again, we're going to see a little bit more of that here in a minute. There's the early work in progress of the bridge. Now, again, the bridge has not changed much from this 2015 layout. Again, I'll bring up the Idris interior here, or sorry, the Javelin interior here in just a little bit, and you're going to see not much has changed. It's mostly still what you're seeing here, just a lot more built out and detailed. The struts on the windows did change, Scissor Fuzz. Yes, they did change. By the way, for those wondering, the Javelin is broken up into 5 decks. 3 primary decks and then 2 subdecks, just for those that are curious on the layout. There is a sort of operations and armament deck. There's a habitation deck and then an engineering deck. So those are sort of the 3 primary decks, and then there's some subdecks that go along with engineering as well, and a corridor access space for the bottom turrets. And again, I'll show all that. Execute says, so when are we getting a full body wax from Starjump Graham? That would be a painful body wax, my friend. That would be, everyone give Execute a salute in chat. That is our good buddy Execute. I will do a shout out there to the info runners on Twitch. I did that wrong apparently. Learn how to do it properly there. There you go. Everyone executes in chat. But yes, the ship is broken out into 3 primary decks and 2 subdecks. Okay. This is almost over. You can see here, and even this one, these turrets were much different, showing a quad turret here that is again changed. Dragon Slayer donating $10 to unlock a new toy for St. Jude. Thank you very much, Dragon Slayer. We are at $10,027 raised for the month of April. And do not forget, everyone, I'm going to bring it over real quick here because I don't want you all to forget. Let me bring it up here. Do not forget, tomorrow on Starjump Guardians, 9 p.m. We're going live. Mootkins donated another $10. Thank you, Mootkins, unlocking a new toy for St. Jude. Tomorrow, April 30th, we are donating. Or, sorry, we're doing a raffle, not donating. We're doing a raffle for an RSI Polaris Corvette with LTI. If you donated towards our Starjump Tiltify link $100, then you were able to get an RSI Polaris Corvette ticket. Okay, if you donated $500, you get 5 tickets, whatever. You just have to click on RSI Polaris when you go there to do it. But we're going to be doing that drawing tomorrow. Okay, big deal, big deal. We're real excited. Big shout out to GearCon if he's watching. GearCon, thank you for donating that Polaris. And another cool thing, everyone, we got another Polaris to do in the month of May. And how cool is that to be able to give that away during Invictus? Okay, isn't that going to be cool? Okay. Very cool. So do not forget, lots of great stuff coming. We appreciate you all hanging out and donating tonight. Back to the video here. Again, this is early Javelin blockout from 2015, 10 years ago. Danverness says, just wanted to say I enjoy your content. Thank you for all the hard work you do, Starjump Graham. Danverness, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Salute to you. If you haven't followed the channel, please do. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Okay, that's the Javelin blockout. Now, the next thing I want to watch, we're going to watch a few things here. They're all pretty short, don't worry. The next one is another 3-minute video. This is a video, if you haven't watched it, is pretty popular in the... Dan Vernus with the follow. Thank you very much, Dan Vernus. Appreciate you. Thank you very much for that follow and support. Appreciate that. We are going to Gump Home. Gump Home? I like that name. Gump, thank you for that follow. Sending the Javelin overhead. Right on topic, by the way. The Javelin flying overhead is very on topic for the night. We're going to watch the big guns of the UEE. If you have not seen this video, you really should. It's a pretty cool video. It's kind of a cinematic video, and then there's an accompanying video that we're going to watch that's 6 minutes long that is a little bit of behind the scenes where Nathan Dearsley will talk about those two ships, okay? Hopefully you don't mind watching these videos with me, everyone, but I think this gives us a lot to talk about on the Javelin, and we'll kind of set our expectations a little better on some of the topics like modules and stuff like that, which we're going to get to, okay? All right, let's watch it. Again, this one's more cinematic, but really cool. Focusing on the Idris, Bengal, and Javelin, the big guns of the UEE Navy. I believe so. We'll check, Crimson. That's the Bengal hangar right there, everyone. Bengal hangar. Idris Argo hangar. Javelin. I'm going to pause it there real quick, everyone. Some people were asking about struts on the Javelin. This is the front of the Javelin cockpit in this video, or the cockpit, or sorry, the front of the Javelin bridge. But when we pull up the mesh file, you're going to see this has changed significantly. They got rid of a lot of these joints, or sorry, these struts, and there now is no top beam at all. It just is curved glass. So. Idris, I believe. Love the hospital bay, or medical wing. Javelin bridge. Bengal. One thing I'll point out here on the Bengal, if you notice the interior feeling a lot different in the Bengal, and actually if you look, see these struts right here, these big cantilevered or these big angled beams, what does that remind you of? Or it should remind you of the Polaris, the interior of the Polaris, a little sparser, not as decaled and multi-textured, you know, there's not like padded areas and all that. It's a lot more like almost like harsh and brutalist, just like the Polaris. And the reason is because the Bengal is RSI. The Bengal is an RSI ship, where the Javelin and the Idris are Aegis ships. So there's that difference there in interior design. I actually do wish the RSI capitals had a little bit more of what the Aegis ships have inside them. The inside of the RSI ships, from everything I've seen, obviously with the Polaris, but even the stuff I've seen from inside the Bengal, it feels a little bit colder, harsher, a little bit more brutal, a little bit more uncomfortable, actually. And I would almost think it would be the opposite. I would think RSI would be a little bit less brutal, but that's sort of what you see here. I mean, if you look at these pieces here, these angled pieces, I mean, that is exactly what's going on in the Polaris hallways, right? Okay, here we go. So, big guns of the UE. Now, I want to look at something here. That video was from November 18th, 2016. That Javelin blockout video was from December 16, 2015. So, less than a year later, we went from this blockout, right, to this, which showed a lot of the Aegis or the Javelin interior looking really good. They probably didn't do all that work in a year. It's just probably one of those situations where when they showed this blockout, they were actually probably further along than this. We just didn't see that further along work represented in this video. You know what I mean? But again, a big leap there when we went to the big guns video. Now this next video ties in with that. A little longer, 6 minutes. We're going to pause here and there because this is an important video. This is Nathan Dearsley talking about the Idris and the Javelin development a little bit, okay? And then after that, we're going to go to a video from 2017 that talks about the Javelin destroyer in a little bit more detail, specifically in regards to its deck layout and stuff, okay? And I believe talks a little bit about its modules, okay? So we're going to do that. So let's watch this one. Before I go, by the way, everyone, I want to thank you all again for the incredible donations and pushing us past the 10K mark tonight. Again, all of you that donated tonight. I love you. I appreciate you. Let's get going.
Past few months, there's been an awful lot going on in regards to not only the small ships, but also the capital ships, should we say, the big guns of the fleet for the UEE. That's the Idris, the Bengal, and the Javelin. You've seen the Javelin in a disarray of state in the Homestead demo.
You can see there that Javelin has a dual turret here on there. So you can see again, going back to that, how it's changed. You see it's a dual turret, not a quad. Obviously it's a quad now. Yeah, we'll do that, Kerry.
Has consistently been in development
Probably
for a very long time now. There's been an awful lot going into it. There's so many kind of factors that you need to account for: design, art, aesthetic, cinematics. Does it play well? Does it feel good? There's all these kind of things going on. The Idris was always the first of that fleet to kind of go through that motion. So that's pretty much there now. We've got one room, I think, that's left to do, which is the missile room. But that's going to be a fun, good task.
Missile room is now done, everyone. It is done.
The history of the Idris, it really kind of started off as a much smaller ship. And as we kind of do very well in the UK, we make things bigger and bigger and bigger. During the development of Squadron, we kind of realised that really the ship wasn't going to be big enough to suit the needs of the story. There was so many more kind of spaces that we needed to get in there. The hangar needed to feel bigger and better, and you know there was a lot more kind of requirements being driven from should we say, the script. So we've done our best to kind of stay true to Ryan Church's original kind of pitch for that stuff. Obviously, when a ship gets kind of wider and wider and wider, it starts to look a bit tubbier and tubbier and tubbier. So we lengthened it as well to kind of bring the overall kind of, should we say, the look of the ship back in tow. As mentioned, it's slightly more angular. It's slightly more angular to keep it efficient in the engine. And you know, as you can see, it's just exponentially grown. It's not going to grow anymore. The beautiful thing about the Aegis is when you take the exterior shell away from the ship, it does genuinely look like an oil rig inside. It is so packed full of stuff. It's quite crazy. There's very little negative space. Every kind.
I want to pause there real quick. If some of you may not know this, but in Starjump Fleet Viewer, In Starjump Fleet Viewer, there's a pretty cool feature that a lot of people don't know about. If you type Idris, but uncheck this official only button, you will get, oh, actually, no, you don't have to do that. There is an Idris hangar cutaway that you can access, which is pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. But what we are also adding very soon, because I do have it done, I just need to get them in. I'll show you this now. What we are adding to Fleet Viewer is, let me show you. Hopefully you like it. What we're going to be adding to Starjump Fleet Viewer very soon for the Idris is this. Let me bring it over. We're going to be adding cutaways in Starjump Fleet Viewer for the Idris in multiple different views, isometric, front. We're going to be doing side cutaways. We're going to be doing bridge cutaways, interior workaround cutaways. I am looking at ways to possibly up the lighting there, though. And thank you very much, Kelt Knight. We appreciate it. Yes, it was great to go over 10K. Thank you very much. Hangar cutaways and this is engineering in the gravity room cutaways. So thought you all would like to see this. This is something I'm going to push to Fleet Viewer probably for Invictus. Big shout out to VMXEO, who I believe is in chat, for rendering these out. Everyone give old VMXEO a salute for getting those done. He got those done a while back. It's just taking us a while to get them into Fleet Viewer. Not everything goes in right away. Citizen Thorns, salute to you. Hope you're well, buddy. All right. Let's continue watching the video. About halfway over.
Kind of square inches used. So we've been as efficient as we can be. We've also kind of, you know, we've tried to make, I've always kind of approached it in a way of, it needs to feel like a really nice space to walk around, and it should flow. You should never kind of walk into walls when you go through a doorway. You should always kind of, your golden rule is the pretzel design, as I call it. When you walk into a room, you should see your exit or your entrance within 60 degrees. That's your field of view. So there's all these kind of little things that we try to take into account. So when you're playing, you know, the big games like, you know, Battlefront and Call of Duty, you study the level design, they do that very well. So that's something that I've always tried to push forward as well. And also to try and bring in some kind of verticality where possible. So you'll notice there's a lot more steps up and down. You know, there's all these, and it is an absolute nightmare to performance capture with this stuff, but it does genuinely feel a little bit more alive than just this kind of flat plane.
Now he'll talk about the Javelin.
The Javelin was always in a good place. I was never going to sweat it. It was always going to kind of take care of itself as long as we kept the primary focus on the Aegis, which is your home, should we say, during the story of Squadron. So, and then we've got the Bengal, which is the, should we say, well, it's the first ship you saw. Massive challenge, massive undertaking.
Again, you can see that different type of architecture inside. It actually is very reminiscent of the Polaris, kind of dark, drab, featureless. A lot more brutal, like brutalist style interior design.
Not as black and white as going in and going, okay, we're going to make this big ship. It just doesn't work that way. You take into account budgets, fuel distance ratios. Can we load stuff efficiently to therefore squeeze more out of the engine? The exterior, the style of it kind of lends itself to this already. It's very kind of polygonal in form. So we've got a lot of planar surfaces that are easy to work with for the engine, and they're always going to light well. So there's a lot of factors that we play to our strengths. When you study a fleet in not only Star Citizen, but if you go back through the history of very kind of successful sci-fi films, and I think
not really 90s
executed it the best of all ever was the opening to Star Wars. You know, you see the runner kind of go across, and it's got these soft forms, and it's generally kind of very softly lit. For lots of cylinders, lots of, you know, fillets, shall we say. You kind of understood, without even seeing the Star Destroyer, what was going on and who was on board, right? And then you have this very aggressive, angular monolith kind of come over you, and you kind of understood instantly, no music cues, what their role in the universe was. And that's something that we try and achieve with the design and the execution of the UE fleet, right? These guys are your friends. They're not here to kind of, you know, be shall we say,
This is
like
Bengal
aggressive.
interior here,
They
everyone.
are
Bengal
the human
interior.
element of this story. So when you study the form of these ships, they're very much in tow with that very much educational first 30 seconds of Star Wars. So, you know, and then of course, you know, you can roll into like Vandal and stuff like that, which you'll see further down the line, that is the bipolar opposite of that. So you should, you know, it works both ways. If you see a ship and it's like a 10 pixel silhouette on your screen, you should get who it is,
Javelin bridge,
and if they're friendly or if they're foe. And you should also understand that if you're stood in a corridor and you've just spawned and you just look at a wall panel, you should understand exactly where you are, just through the basics. And that's what we've tried to do. So they're the kind of three big bad boys that are in production right now, and are moving on at quite a rate.
So they didn't talk about the Javelin much there, but there was a lot we could derive from that, right? This next video that we'll watch here, it's probably only about, it's not very long. It's probably about, it's probably about 12 minutes or so. But before we do that, we'll continue our talk a little bit here. One of the things about the Javelin is, while the Idris has been fully done up on the interior, you saw the cutaways there that they showed. You saw the cutaways that VMXEO worked on for Starjump Fleet Viewer that we're going to push during Invictus. You can see how much of that interior space of the Idris was filled out, right? Very little negative space left, etc. Because again, there's a lot of story that happens inside that ship. And I've heard from people before, well, does the Javelin take the same cues? Is its interior fully built out too? And what I'll say about that, based off my digging around the files, is that the Javelin, well, the Javelin does have a bigger interior than the Idris, I can say that. But also, yes, the Javelin, it does have a negative space, but they did utilize it well, and most of the negative space is small. They really utilize the interior of the Javelin as efficiently as possible. There's a lot of corridors, but there are a lot of rooms, and there's, again, they filled the space out. So absolutely, in the Javelin, there's a lot of rooms, a lot of corridors, a lot of engineering rooms, a lot of habitation rooms, all that kind of stuff. One of the biggest issues with the Javelin from the interior, even way more so than the Idris, is that a lot of the Javelin's interior space is made up of corridors to get to turrets. So the turrets on the bottom spinal mount, the turrets on the top spinal, or on the top port and starboard side, getting to the torpedo rooms, all that stuff. So you'll see where the Idris is sort of built around the Squadron 42 story. Since the Javelin, I think, is primarily for the prologue, and you are a turret gunner there, its interior is really built to service the turrets. So, Rage1 donating $30 towards the Nomad Love Struck Starter Pack. Thank you very much, Rage1. Appreciate you. Salute. Appreciate that. All right, we're going to watch this video. Now, this video is from 2017. It's on the Javelin. This one we're going to, Nathan Dearsley is going to walk through this a little bit more detailed. So, you know, in the Big Guns video, he really didn't talk about the Javelin much. He kind of skipped over that one and was just sort of like, oh, the Javelin's in a good place. It's going along pretty well. We're using the Idris kit and all that. We're using the Aegis kit. So in this video, which was the old show around the verse, which they don't do anymore, I really wish they would. We're going to go a little deeper into the Javelin. We're going to find out a little bit more about it. Specifically in this video too, I believe they talk about those modules. So I know we had someone ask about modules for the Javelin. I think they talk about them here. I think. If not, we're going to dig that information up. Someone else in chat asked, 90s, I believe, asked, is the Bengal interior in the files? No, not that I found. The only part of the Bengal that is in the files is sort of the hangar area or the runway area or whatever you call it. And it's only in there very like low poly hollow model level. So no, the more fleshed out interiors, I have not seen it for the Bengal other than these videos. So that's all I've seen. So Let's go back over to our video window here and let's watch this. There's some great information here. All right, here we go. Exactly, Alistair. Exactly. That's the elevator that goes up to the Javelin Bridge. We're going to inspect that in the mesh. Hey, citizen. By the way, these are all interiors of the Javelin. Okay. You can see there the dual size 8 that was originally up on the main turret. This again is now changed to a quad size 9, I believe. A quad size 9. So again, changed a lot over the years. That's the escape pod at the back side of the bridge. Looking at the UES gauntlet here. The Javelin has a lot of brig cells, by the way. Prisoner cells. This is the basketball court area that people talk about from time to time. Hey, zombie pig.
The Javelin was really kind of a byproduct of we needed another capital ship supplied to the UE in the game. We already had the Idris. We knew it was going to be Aegis manufactured, so I kind of wanted to extend the style and aesthetic of the Idris into the Javelin. Not only for the interior stuff but also the exteriors. So from a production point of view, the Javelin, we had the wealth of experience that we'd learned from developing the Idris, and really kind of we could almost kind of, so we say, hit the ground running. So there was a lot of similarities in the aesthetic and the general kind of design between the Idris and the Javelin. It's really about kind of taking that aesthetic and those spaces and recycling. You kind of hear me on about the 60-40 split, recycling about 60% of the Idris and then putting the 40% spin on the Javelin for the interiors. The exterior production wise is really a case of
take what works on the Aegis, the shaders and the textures and whatnot. The model is always going to be unique.
This video is
nothing you can do about that.
2017. 2017.
If I put the Aegis next to the Javelin, like I say, the key result that I'm after is that they both look like they're from the same fleet. They're both from the same manufacturer. And really the production cycle of the Aegis is pretty much the production cycle of the Javelin. They both go kind of hand in hand. When we started the Javelin, it was the first thing you have to do is the floor plan. We have to go through all the stuff that we need. So you got the gravity drive, the reactors, mess hall, barracks. So you have to kind of think about these things from the ground up when you're planning the interior layout of the ship. And what I'm really pleased about with the Javelin is that we managed to get 3 concise decks kind of planned out. So if you look at the ship from the side, the lower decks are engineering, and it's kind of very hot and sweaty and a workman's kind of place, right? And then you hit the mid decks, which is habitation, and that's, again, it's no mistake. You kind of first class on a Boeing is up front. There's no engine noise and stuff. The middle of the Javelin theoretically would be the quietest area of the ship. So that's all kind of laid out correctly. And then you go to the top deck, which is the technical area. So you've probably heard me talk about like the archetypes before, which is technical, engineering, habitation and medical. If you look at any kind of section of the Javelin from any angle, you can see clear, concise breakouts of those archetypes.
Big cargo
They've all
room.
got their place, like an architect's designed it properly, right? And that's what you get from the Javelin, which I'm really pleased about, because then it means that you get this clear, concise cut between habitation, between engineering, and between technical. Whereas some of the other ships, they kind of have fallen a bit where you'll go from a technical area into a habitation and back into a technical area. That doesn't happen on the Javelin.
So, Max Skinny, one thing I'll say is that while there has been a lot that has changed on the Javelin, definitely its entire exterior, turrets have changed. The funny thing is a lot of the exterior has actually remained intact. And again, a lot of that has to do with Squadron 42 AI pathing and stuff, but we're going to look at the interior mesh here in just a little bit, probably after this video. And we're really going to see even the newest in-game Javelin interior files really match what we're seeing here from 2017. So it's pretty incredible. Again, not that there hasn't been some changes and updates and stuff throughout those rooms, but the basic layout and everything is really kind of unchanged.
It's extremely light per deck. If one section of the ship gets damaged or goes down, it's very much like a huge cruise liner. So if that hull gets hit, it will shut itself down.
Exterior
so
completely
huge
changed.
Bulkheads with massive doors that kind of will just go, okay, you're out now, shut down, and then it's up for the engineer to start rerouting power. The Aegis has this huge hangar that kind of runs through the center of the ship. The Javelin doesn't. It has like a very kind of small, almost like a
execute. We'll talk for sure.
For a drop ship. It is cool though. The hangar. The best thing about the hangar is the floor. Dan ingeniously designed it. It pretty much kind of becomes the door. Essentially, you have to land on a platform, and then that platform lowers in. But that platform when it's up is actually the doors, quite cleverly. And when you're actually inside the hangar and you see everything kind of moving up from traffic control, it's pretty awesome. So the main differences between the Aegis and the Javelin is we've obviously got the hangar space difference. It doesn't really kind of carry as many craft. It's not got its own utility vehicle, but it has got an awful lot of weaponry. The whole ship's pretty much kind of caked in turrets. And we've done this really cool thing on the back of the ship where the remote turrets that are actually on the track system. At the moment, when you're flying towards a ship, you kind of don't know if a turret's in operation or not, unless it kind of goes down inside the hull or something like that. And not a lot of our remote turrets do that. But what we've done is we put the whole turret on a track system. So when they're not manned, they rotate back and go to the back of the ship between the thrusters. So they're in the most shielded area when they're not being used. But that way, as a player, when you're approaching one of these things, you know if it's got its turrets up in defense or not. These huge things have gone way past just being a very pretty asset in space. They're completely functional, and they're also kind of extremely kind of fun to run around and have a shootout. So my background is FPS multiplayer maps. I run around ships looking at kind of gameplay. And how you can make interesting gunplay and all that kind of stuff, and making sure the level's balanced. On the ship production side of things, we've got to keep quite a few people happy. So obviously, there's the backers who without them, none of this would happen. So we have to kind of take their feedback on board. We done the Big Guns trailer back in November, I think it was. It was for CitizenCon, or around about that time. The ship has gone through a couple of design changes on the exterior since it first went out, simply because in the UK we have a habit of making things bigger, which has a domino effect to everything, which is certainly the case on this. There was a specific shot in that video that I'd done, and Toby done that one actually, and it showed the bridge, and of course there's a crossbar across the bridge, and it kind of was blocking the captain's view. If he would have to get to
there's that crossbar.
So we saw that. We saw the feedback on the forums, and
execute. After I cover the Javelin, I will talk about some Invictus stuff. I'll ping you if you want to jump in chat at that time.
We've gone back and remedied that, and we've taken that as an opportunity then to actually kind of generally just make the ship's bridge kind of feel a lot more kind of tangible, a lot better. And we've also got the cutscenes going in now for that stuff for Squadron. So with Hannes and myself, we're looking at it and how we can flood as much kind of natural light into these areas. So there's some very kind of cool windows that are turning up. And the Javelin is actually kind of far more so than the Aegis, has far more exterior views throughout the whole ship. I've actually put quite a significant amount of man hours into it, not myself, but focus has shifted onto it, because we're at the point now where I pretty much kind of want to support design for the Squadron 42 side of things, and for us to be able to do that, the ship needs to be at a certain kind of point, okay? Because the Javelin plays an integral role for a part of Squadron, which I can't talk about, but yeah, it's
referring to the prologue
is
what they're talking about
on a daily basis. It's never as black and white as the writers will, kind of write something, we make it. It's very much a kind of a 50-50 thing. There's a lot of backwards and forwards. So, we may end up kind of blocking out a new area, and then that may kind of feed back into the script somehow, and into the writers doing something far more creative than what I would originally have kind of thought about. But it also works the other way. So the writers, they'll come up with ideas that feed our inspiration. This is where it gets really kind of complicated. So from an art production side of things, we hand the ship off to tech design. Tech design are then going to go and do their pass with obviously the balancing of the weapons, the balancing of the thrusters, the maneuverable thrusters, but then also with this as I mentioned.
Hey, Death, salute to you. I hope you're doing well. Everyone go give Death and Rebirth a follow as well. Yeah, supposedly Ender got me a pink cat. We'll have to see. We both got to ship stuff to each other, actually. I got to ship some stuff to him tomorrow, so we shall see. But yeah, really great. 10K raised in 1 month. Absolutely awesome. That's exciting to see. Pushing the Pink Cat Squad forward. And all the members of Pink Cat Squad obviously bringing in tons of stuff. Now, I don't know what the Pink Cat Squad numbers are right now, but it's got to be pretty good, I would imagine. And then everyone's own charity endeavors outside of PHS, again, adding to that. It's a really great collaborative effort, and that's super cool. So, very good cause. Supposedly, I got a pink hat coming, and that's incredible. Death River says $14,716. Incredible. That's awesome. We're going to hit 20K this year. I feel it in my bones. Here we go, everybody. Hit and play again.
Mention it plays an integral role in Squadron. So the design team on Squadron are also kind of expecting a certain version of it, which we need to produce as well off the back of the PU version that's put together. It's just this kind of thing about kind of making a game,
crazy,
making an IP or anything along that lines in this industry is just it's a very human thing that takes a lot of people from a lot of different disciplines to kind of get on and work together, and that's just a real kind of small part of that. It's challenging, but it's massively rewarding as well.
It's great.
All right. So there is that video. I guess I thought that one did the modules. I guess not. Now I can't remember where I read the module stuff. I can't remember, but it's okay. We're gonna keep going. I still think the modules are gonna change a lot anyway. So, all All right, I'm going to open Cinema 4D, and we are going to attempt. We're going to attempt to open the Javelin interior file. Now, I want to warn everybody, it could crash. It's a big file. It's a big file, but we're going to attempt it. Here we go. Let me try to open it here first. We're going to, we'll start with the bridge. We'll start with the bridge. I'll show you a couple cool things with the bridge. Let me get our main display back up. There we go. Okay. All right, this is the game model of the Javelin real quick. We're going to zoom in here. Cody Fox says, Sergeant Grim, does the model show how the cargo gets in? I'm not sure. We'll have to look. We'll have to look. Here's our bridge inside. We are going to turn off the Javelin and just show the bridge area, which is here. There are parts and pieces missing. Certain walls are missing. That's because they're instanced, and just the instance for that piece of wall is not there. But this should show you. Actually, where did some stuff go? Some stuff disappeared. Stand by. Where are our seats? We don't want our seats to disappear. Where are these seats? Let me grab them. Oh, here's the bridge. Where are those elements here? You know what? Let's just bring that on up. And we'll throw it in there. Okay, in there, and turn that off. All right, there we go. And then we'll turn this off. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. So here's our bridge area. 3 primary seats up front here. If you're wondering what those are, we can actually click on them to get the labels. This one here is the called the operator chair. I believe it's the pilot chair. This one over here is the co-pilot chair. And then this one here is labeled as the bridge captain chair. Now, the interesting thing about this is that even though you have this bridge captain chair sort of sitting front and center here, there's this console up above. If you go up this little set of stairs here and go to this big console right here, this console is listed as the captain's console. So I think it's intended for the captain to be able to leave this primary chair, go up here, sit at his big console. I love the big consoles, by the way. Sit at his big console. Off over to the side here. Now some of the chairs have disappeared, and that is again because they are instanced. Instanced just means they're actually copied and referenced from another file. So here you'll see this is known as an operator chair. Again, this will be things like that one's operator chair as well. So these will obviously serve certain functions. If you go to the rear of the bridge here, you'll see this escape module. This is escape module. It was actually shown in that video. Now, for those of you wondering how the escape module, I'm going to turn the Javelin back on. Those wondering how the escape module gets out of here, you notice on the back of the bridge area there is a no cup holders. It's a shame. You'll see this door here. If I click on this door and turn it off, you'll see down in this little tunnel there is the escape module, and it's on this arm system here that will gimbal it out and send it out the back of the bridge. So again, if I rotate inside, you'll see there it is again. If I rotate this way, you'll see that's where it lives. So if you've ever wondered if CIG does fully think out the escape modules and the escape pods and all that stuff, they do actually. All that stuff is in the game files, even in the PU ships where it's not like fully operable. They do build it out. They absolutely do build it out. So yeah, really, really cool. So that gives you a little hint of that and how that comes out. I'm sure, and then all the oh, Blasphemous just rated with 37 viewers. Blasphemous, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Sending the Kraken overhead. Blasphemous, I hope you're doing well. Salute to you, buddy. Giving you the old double salute for that raid. How was your stream? Hopefully it was good. We are talking Aegis Javelin Destroyer tonight. We're breaking it down. We watched a bunch of videos. We're now digging into the game files of the Javelin, looking it over, checking out the interiors, getting a little dug in, a little dirty with it. currently focusing on the bridge. We were just looking at how the escape module comes out the rear of the bridge. You get in it from this back tunnel here, gets you in the escape module, and then it'll throw you out the back of the bridge so you can escape your fiery death. How was your stream, though, Blasphemous? Hopefully well. Salute to you. Appreciate you. Everyone give Blasphemous a little bit of that love.
Thank you.
Always a big supporter. Blurry Pixel donating $40 towards the Anvil Hurricane. That is a good segue. Thank you very much, Blurry. Appreciate that. And that is a great segue, by the way, to talk real quick about our St. Jude giveaway. For all those Raiders that just came in, we are currently here at Starjump raising money for St. Jude Play Live. Sick kids suffering through cancer and going to St. Jude. All the money allows them to go to St. Jude with no hospital bills whatsoever. We're doing a couple raffles right now. One, if you use our Tiltify link, either pinned in the YouTube or on this pop-up in Twitch here right now, through that Tiltify link, that is the Starjump Tiltify link, you can donate towards our St. Jude Play Live initiative. We have already raised $10,107 this cycle for April. We still have May to go. We're currently giving away an RSI Polaris Corvette, Anvil Hurricane, and Nomad Lovestruck starter pack. If you donate $100 towards the St. Jude Play Live Tiltify link, you will be able to get an RSI Polaris ticket for that raffle. We're doing that raffle tomorrow. That ship is being given away tomorrow, a Polaris Corvette with LTI. On May 3rd, with a $20 donation to our St. Jude Tiltify link, you'll be able to get a ticket for an Anvil Hurricane. You can get more than one tickets, by the way, to all these. Donated by Bingo Winchester. And for a $10 donation, you can get in on a Nomad Lovestruck starter pack that we'll give away on May 6th. Now, don't forget, everyone, we got a lot more ships to get through. Custom Fleet Viewer liveries. We got another Polaris Corvette to give away in the month of May, as well as an Anvil Carrack. So it's been a lot of fun so far. So going back to here, again, thank you for that raid, Blasphemous. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you had a great stream. Okay, so we're looking at the bridge here. I'm going to turn off the thing here. So again, you're looking at a couple areas here now. There's our escape module. You'll see there's this housing here on the back of the bridge. This is where our escape module lives and goes out of the ship. Going back to our main bridge area, again, upstairs here are primarily just operator consoles, a lot of open space, and of course the hollow globe. If you go downstairs from the main bridge area, it'll take you to this sub room, which, it's a little tricky to get the camera in here, bear with me, has another operator console. I don't know exactly what this console is here. Okay, so this is life support, so this will probably be an engineering terminal. And there are, if I remember correctly, there is a elevator here. So you'll see this elevator tunnel here. If let me get my thing here to work. Okay, this is the primary elevator you saw them using in that cinematic. Okay, it goes all the way down and comes all the way up to the bridge. Now, if I zoom out and rotate around, you'll see that this is the elevator tunnel here, or the elevator chute, whatever you want to call it. That is what then takes you up to the primary bridge of the Javelin. And that's pretty much what the bridge area looks like. Nice, big, sizable bridge. There you go. Now, we're going to open up a big file now. I'm going to close this. And we're going to open up Interior 2. This is a big file, by the way, and I'm not going to be able to navigate it smoothly. Okay, so just bear with me. Okay, here is the Aegis Javelin interior as we currently know it. It is a big file. These two big blockout rooms right here, these in this build are technically unfinished. If you're wondering what these are, when I click on them, they say torpedo rooms. So these are the rooms where the torpedoes are housed and launched from the two launchers out the front of the ship. Okay, you'll see here if I turn on the exterior, the ship is all housing all of it. Gives you a good idea of how much of the ship is utilized for interior space. So not as well filled out as the Idris, like I was saying, but pretty well filled out. If I turn off that exterior, there you go. Okay. So zooming down, I'm going to turn off a few things here. Now, again, we talked about the bridge. So I'm going to turn the bridge off for a moment for efficiency's sake. I'm going to turn off the habitation layer. Yep. And I'm going to turn off a couple of other things here. Cargo. And let's see. No, I'm going to leave that on. Actually, yeah, I'm going to leave that on. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. So one thing is you'll find a lot of these. Remember how I talked about there was a lot of causeways and hallways in the Idris that take you to turrets? You'll find a lot of these throughout the ship. So, for example, this part here, which is known as what is it called in the files? The SD back main interior area. So this is essentially a corridor that just is turret access for all the turrets on the bottom spinal mount, right? Because there's a lot of those. So again, you go through it here. It's a small, tight industrial corridor that again takes you through various turret access areas. Here's one of them here. These turrets, you get in the seat. There's a seat here, and it will take you down underneath the ship to access the turret on the bottom. Again, you can walk around it. I'm sure there'll be fuses and other stuff down here as well. Again, this corridor continues to go all the way back until, again, this is hard to navigate, everyone, bear with me. So this will go all the way back to this room here in the back, which again has some, it's going to have some more fuses and resource management stuff here, but essentially it's a series of stairs that allow you to then, so you get back here, you can see the stairway under here. It's just a series of stairs that take you on up to the primary engineering level. So remember when I said there was sort of three primary levels to the ship, and Nathan Dearsley called that out too, right? There was technical, habitation, and then engineering. Well, remember when I talked about the two subdecks? This is one of the subdecks I was talking about. This deck here is not actually part of any of those three main decks. It's a subdeck beneath that. Okay. So I'm going to turn that off. We're going to zoom out a little bit here. We're going to bring up the, let's see. Okay, that's the technical deck. Let me turn that off. Stand by. It's habitation, bridge, cargo. Let's turn on cargo. Okay, so this is the cargo deck here. Let's take a look. This area here, inside this housing, this area here is actually the hangar landing area. You can see up these windows up here on top. Those windows up top are the sort of air traffic controller operator area. That's glass, by the way, looking at on the landing area. This is going to be where the landing area is. So that's a key point. So when you're looking at this cargo area, this part is the hangar right here. The rest of this is cargo. And I know someone called out the basketball court earlier. There is a basketball court. You can kind of see that here. You can see the lines, and there's even a little basketball hoop right here at the back side. You can see that there. That is the basketball hoop that is talked about. But this is the primary cargo hold of the ship. Again, this is what holds that 5,800 SCU some out of cargo. I don't know if there's a way to get it up or if there's cargo elevators. It might be, let me see here what we got. Let's see if we can find any sort of cargo elevator. We do have one elevator here. That is a lift. There are some holes in the ground. Those holes could be elevators, but honestly, I would think an elevator would need to come from some side hatch because the ship can't land. Is it possible it could be the rear? I'm honestly not sure. It'll be interesting to see how you get cargo in. Now, one way it could be is you land the ship in here in the hangar bay, and then you have the landing pad here, and cargo is just moved from the landing pad directly into the cargo bay. That's how I think it works, because I think that's the only access to the cargo bay. Spectre EH says, should I buy back my Javelin from buyback or should I keep it at half a dozen other big-ass ships? It's up to you. Personal decision, right? Personal decision. But that is our cargo area. Oh, Zero State just raided. Oh my goodness, Zero. How are you? Zero, everyone give Zero State a giant salute. Absolutely massive raid. Thank you very much, Zero. I hope you're doing well, buddy. How was your stream tonight? We are looking at the Aegis Javelin Destroyer tonight. We're focusing on the interior. We're scoping it out. We have the interior game model up here, and we are we're digging in. We're looking at this ship. We're checking it out. Zero, salute to you, buddy. You know I love you. You've had us on a previous show in the past, us here at Starjump, and you've been a supporter from the very early days of us, and we appreciate you. We love you. I hope you had a great stream. Thank you for sending your community over here to me to hang out tonight. For those of you wondering what the hell we are doing tonight, we are focusing on the Aegis Javelin Destroyer. We're kind of doing what I call a Shipyard episode where we dig into it. We talk about the ship. We sort of analyze it. We go over the available information. We discuss it. Everyone in chat's got ideas and fun stuff to talk about it. I do have the Aegis Idris interior model files here. So we're sort of taking a look at that, digging into it in kind of a way most people don't get to see it, right? By digging into the actual game files for it. So pretty cool. It's a little hard to manage, but it is still cool. Ariel, thank you for that follow. By the way, everyone, if you have not followed my channel before, if you do like anything spaceship related, Star Citizen spaceships, give my channel a follow because that's primarily what I talk about here. I do talk about gameplay and features and stuff too when available, but for right now, I do have a love of ships, so that's what we talk about a lot, right? So we talk about a lot about spaceships, so follow the channel if you like this content. Moppin44, thank you, salute to you. Alan just said, what is this ship? Well, let's turn it on so you can see. It is the Javelin Destroyer, everybody. That is what we're looking at tonight. The Javelin Destroyer. We just got done checking out the bridge. For those of you that were curious, I'll swing back over to it real quick. We were just checking out the Javelin Bridge, which is right here. I can turn off the exterior file and just check out the interior bridge area, which you can see right here. Pretty cool, give you kind of the full layout. One of the things we were looking at was the really cool escape module, which does play into the prologue of Squadron 42. You escape into the escape module right when the Vandal break in and board the Javelin and go to murder you. You get in the escape pod, and for those curious, the escape pod comes out of this back chute here. If I turn this door off, if you've ever been curious, this back door here reveals the escape module sitting here in the back, and this little gantry arm here throws it out of the ship, thus saving the crew from a horrible, horrible death. You can kind of see that here. You can see the escape pod there in the back and where it sits in the primary bridge. We were sort of looking at that. We were also looking at the elevator that takes you up from the technical deck of the Javelin all the way up to the primary bridge area. So yeah, let's swing back over to our other one. By the way, and yes, Zero, thank you very much. For those that just came over from Zero's channel, I really need to talk about one thing real quick here, so hopefully this doesn't bother you too much, but it is important. We are raising money for St. Jude Play Live, okay? We've been doing this for the month of April. We're doing it for the month of May, raising money for sick kids and their families. The money does not come to Starjump at all. It goes directly to St. Jude. If you see right here, we have raised for the month of April $10,107, all because of the amazing Starjump community and Star Citizen community that is currently in chat. So big shout out to them. We got a lot of great raffles we're doing too. So for example, I'll swing back over here real quick. We are doing, currently, we have an RSI Polaris Corvette. If you donate $100 to our Tiltify link, which you will find in chat there, I'm putting it in there again right now. If you've donated $100 to St. Jude, you will get a ticket for an RSI Polaris Corvette. We're doing that giveaway tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow on a special episode of Starjump Guardians on this channel. So make sure you follow this channel. We're doing that giveaway for the RSI Polaris Corvette. We're also doing one for an Anvil Hurricane donated by Bingo Winchester. By the way, that Corvette, the Polaris Corvette donated by GearCon. Thank you, buddy. Anvil Hurricane coming on May 3rd, $20 Tiltify St. Jude donation to get a ticket for that one. And on May 6th, we're giving away a Nomad Love Struck starter pack. Only got to donate $10 towards the St. Jude giveaway, or sorry, the St. Jude Tiltify link via that. Again, a lot more raffles coming. We're also giving away Starjump Challenge coins. We're giving away custom ships in Starjump Fleet Viewer, custom liveries in that all through April and May. So if you're into that kind of stuff and giving towards sick kids and their families so that they do not have to pay a hospital bill as they battle cancer, make sure you follow this channel. We got a lot of great stuff coming. It's going to be a really fun May, but we're just so pleased that we raised $10K for the month of April. So all of you in chat, thank you very, very much. As always, I really appreciate it. All right, swinging back over to Javelin. Let's get a little dirty here. We're going to turn off the exterior of the Javelin, and we're going to zoom back in. Now, we got to turn a few things off to make this kind of run well, everybody. We're going to run, so we're going to turn off the cargo area, which we just got done talking about, which includes the hangar and main cargo bay. We're going to turn off the bridge area, which is right here. We're going to turn that off. Again, we're turning things off so it'll run a little bit more efficiently. We're going to turn off habitation. And actually, no, we're going to leave habitation on. We're going to turn off, nope, not that. Oh, yep, we're turning off that one. That is the spinal weapons mount corridor at the very bottom of the ship, one of the sub decks. This is the mid deck. Nope, we're going to leave that one on. And this is the mid deck front. We're going to leave that on. Technical deck. Yeah, we're going to turn that off for a minute. We are going to get back to the technical deck. Okay. So, a couple things here. It's still pretty heavy. Bear with me. Bear with me. So, what you see here is known as mid-deck, okay? So, there are other parts of this. The mid-deck is sort of taken up by primarily one level. There are some other files connected to that one, though. This does include things, for example, like, let's zoom in here. Mid-deck will include things like the briefing room, which is located in the heart of the ship. Going down here to it, get you a good view. Here is the briefing room holo table. It has seats on this side, seats on the other side. Looks like it can support up to, let's take a look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 3, 15. So this can hold 30, so 30 seats total in the Javelin's briefing room, which you see right here. Again, that's located center ship here. You can access that via the habitation corridors, which you can see all through here. Now, going back to this area here, we're just checking out a few areas of this interior mesh. Again, it is hard to sort of navigate this, so bear with me, everybody. Exactly, Spectre. So it's twice the Idris briefing room size. So, and that's pretty much par for course for a lot of the Javelin interior. It's sort of just doubled up from what the Idris had. Okay. So again, these are more access ways through here. There's a central lift here that goes all the way down to engineering. Again, we'll look at that in just a minute. I'm not sure what this room is back here. This could be the medical wing, actually. I'm not too sure. It's not currently labeled. Just labeled as CG small. Again, sometimes looking at these. Oh, execute, falling asleep. Okay, yeah, sorry, I wasn't in there checking it out now, though. Yeah, so real quick, everybody, I'll bring this up for those curious. Let me bring this up real quick here. One bit of a leak that came out regarding Invictus. Execute, get some rest, buddy. Sorry I went long. But we'll catch up. I want to catch up with you this week, and maybe we can discuss this on stream. We're doing a Guardians episode tomorrow, so it could be a great time to talk about it if you're around tomorrow night. we could have you on that Guardians episode as we give away that Polaris, and we could talk ships. But these are ships that are looking like they are flyable for Invictus. We're looking at the Guardian, the Mirai Guardian MX, which we've all known as a missile boat. The Grey Cat MTC Mobile Tactical Center are thinking this is a ground vehicle, by the way. I personally think this is sort of a mobile armory sort of type vehicle. And then Anvil Asgard, heavy duty transport. We all assume this is a Valkyrie variant. And then, of course, the Miss Starlancer attack, medium-sized patrol ship. So yeah, all these looking like they're going straight to flyable. If you've watched any of mine or Execute streams over on the Info Runners, if you've watched any of our stuff over the past few weeks, these are kind of the vehicles we earmarked already as being the flyables. Some information we do not know is we do not know if if Drake has anything. I currently have a person or two looking into that, but no signs of anything yet. I think one of the biggest things for that will be if the Drake Hull has increased in size. If it has, then we know they've added new ships, because currently the Drake Hull really just fits the Drake ships they currently have. Okay. And then the other thing too is that we don't know, for example, if, again, I think it's a long shot, but it is possible the Idris could go to backers. I don't think it will. No one call me out if it doesn't. I don't think it will, but it is possible. It is possible. Execute says, look at the image I posted in group chat before I go. Yeah, let me bring that up real quick here. Bringing up an image. So yeah, no big surprises there on those ships coming out. All right, let me zoom out. So it looks like we do have spaces for 3 ships. This is for MISC. This is the MISC day. Oh, we'll say one's Grey Cat. I don't know what this is. So yeah, Grey Cat. So obviously this will be the MTC. We could have under the MISC thing, we could have the Starlancer attack, and on the right could be the Mirai Guardian, right? For all we know. Although that looks pretty small for a Guardian. Jeff Horton, it's looking like the Asgard will be flight ready. It is looking like that, yeah. Execute says, so the first haul as the Guardian MX Starlancer. Oh, let me pull that one up. Okay, so the first haul is the Guardian MX Starlancer attack and Grey Cat MTC all on the first day. So the Anvil Asgard would be later. Then on Drake Day, wonder what's coming then. Who knows? Interesting. I mean, as we've all discussed, I think there's a lot of question marks with what is coming at this year's Invictus. I think it's very possible they could go a different route with things than they have in the past, right? Oh, it's JoJo TV. There he is. JoJo, I hope you're well. JoJo makes some absolutely great content, by the way, everyone. If you go to YouTube, go to It's JoJo TV. Makes some great Star Citizen content. I've been watching it lately, subscribed. Just does some really good content. Really good content. Execute says the image you have up is of all 3 ships on that first day. See, that's interesting if they do that. It would maximize sales for sure, but it also does leave some windows of opportunity open for some other vehicles or ships to come about. Again, still crossing my fingers for the Ironclad, but honestly, I think there's just as much of a chance of seeing the Idris go to backers. I really do. I really do. It's a long shot, but I think it's possible. It is very possible, right? So yeah, all right. We are, everyone. We are. By the way, expect me and Execute to do some more ship talk. Maybe Execute, you can join us on Starjump Guardians tomorrow, where we give away the RSI Polaris raffle prize. If you want to be on there and talk Invictus leaks, we might have some additional leaks we can talk about by tomorrow, or if not leaks, some stuff we find in the PTU. So hopefully Execute can join us. If not Execute, no worries. I'm sure me and you will have a show some point this week where we talk ships. So there it is. So everyone, I'm going to turn back on habitation real quick. Boom, there's habitation. I'm going to turn off some of this other stuff. We're going to look at habitation just for a moment. Let me turn off the technical deck. So Habitation. You can see that here. So the way habitation works is there's this sort of the center area here. You can kind of see it right here. We're going to zoom into it. 3D is not liking me right now. You can see that this center area is the lunchroom. It's the galley, right? So this big center area here is where all the eating takes place. If you watch the squadron demo, you will saw them walking through this area. This is where all that occurs. And then branching off from that, two big lines, and you can see that here. See this big path right here that kind of runs through the center? This is all bunks. All bunks. You can kind of see here when I swing down. Let me zoom down here. You can kind of see here the long line of bunks. So this thing can, again, support a lot of people. Tech Anomalous, thank you for that follow. Appreciate that. Really appreciate the follows and support, everyone. Thank you very, very much. So again, this is sort of habitation. I haven't fully explored this area. We have some additional stair and ladder access through here. I was hoping to find the medical bay. We have another turret over here. Again, you can see this ship, while it has 3 decks, there's actually many more decks here if you count all the stairs and causeways and stuff like that. So many bunks. Exactly. Yeah, a ton of bunks, Spectre. It is hard to navigate this model, by the way, everyone. I'm doing this in Cinema 4D. This is not optimized for Cinema 4D. I wish it was. I wish I had this in the game engine, but I do not currently. So this is, again, just more entryways, causeways throughout the ship. Again, you can see this thing is pretty fully featured. There's just a lot of places to go in this ship. A lot of places to go. All right. Let me swing back over. Oh, model's getting out of hand. Let's pull out of this. It's just a monster ship. It's just a monster ship. So habitation, obviously, pretty darn big. Okay, there we go. So let's turn habitation off. And let's turn technical deck back on. Now this being the technical deck. Okay, now we looked at the technical deck. Stand by. I want to bring up the mid deck again. Okay. Okay, technical deck front. Okay, so this is the technical deck front. And then we have a technical deck back. There we go. So these connect. Okay, cool. So you'll notice that there are certain areas missing here. Again, those aren't missing from the game files. They're just instanced. So these rooms here on this technical deck level, I'm not sure what these go into, but let's zoom down and figure out what they are. Okay, so this in here is the ship armory. So we can zoom down. You can see we have an operator's kiosk here looking out into what is more than likely a shooting range, right? You can see that here. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but you can see the target holders back there. That actually does say Armory Shooting Range in the files. I'll zoom out a little bit. So that is the armory there. The armory then connects to whatever in this room. Let's push inside the wall. Got a big open area here. I've never seen this room before. Is this medical? Let's take a look. Bear with me. Okay, this is considered, this is called prop desk. Again, clicking on these files a lot of times can give you information on what it is. This is tech bench, staff only. Does this console have any information? Just says prop desk. So again, don't totally know what this room is for. I don't see any decaling on it just in these files. I'm sure it exists there though, but obviously kind of a big open area here. In the technical, on the technical deck front part of the ship, we have a door here. I believe this lift goes to a lift. Yep, it does. It goes to an elevator. It does kind of look like a medical bay, doesn't it? So that goes to a lift. Here you can see the lift here. You can see the different doors that it goes to. Okay, so there's an elevator there. You can see that lift in the center of the ship there. There's another lift going down on the front. Again, a lot of elevators, A lot of corridors. These walkways here, again, go into these rooms up here, which are not fully featured. These rooms here are the torpedo rooms. There is a starboard and port side torpedo room. Okay. We do have this back area of the technical deck. Now, I wanted to zoom down and look at this. I wanted to see what this was here. I don't think there's actually anything in here. Sometimes I like to click on things. Okay, so this is an engineering room. It's just an engineering room because some of the files, when I click on them, are labeled engineering. So that's what that is, and there's life support. So it looks like life support is controlled from this back room here. I want to see what this very back room over here is. Let's zoom in and see what this is. Skittles Hunter, thank you for that follow. I really appreciate that. All right, let's see. What is this? I think this is possibly the captain's quarters, everybody. Here we go. What is this here? This is captain's quarters. So this is at the very rear of the ship. You can see there's a tube here that goes back to the captain's quarters. Kind of a smaller set of quarters here than I thought, but there's the captain's quarters. Victoria, it says captain's quarters, not XO. It says captain's quarters. That just says bedding. But the chair here says captain's quarters chair. The desk says captain's quarters desk. Now, one thing I will point out is that's on this side here. We have another hallway here. This one could go to another room, or maybe it goes into something that is additional. We can turn on some parts and pieces here and see. But there we go. Let's turn on a few things here. No, not that. Okay, there is up to the bridge. So one thing that's pretty cool here for everybody is that the captain's quarters is right below the bridge. So if the captain does need to get up to the bridge pretty quickly, he or she can. So there is that. Let me look at what else we got here. That's cargo. That is the... Okay, so down here, this connects to, I think, some technical areas. What is this known as? Oh, flight control. Okay, so this is flight control. This here, let me go into this. So you see this here? You remember when we were in the car, or when we were in the hangar, and I showed you the windows of air traffic control for the hangar? This is what's inside those hangars. This is air traffic control for the main hangar bay of the Javelin. If I turn this on, which one? Is it this one? Yeah, you can kind of see it here inside the ship. There it is. Let me turn on, nope, not habitation, it's cargo. So if I turn on cargo, why isn't it turning on? That's not what I wanted to show. Let me figure out which one it is. No? Okay, guess it's not there. Anyway, kind of shows you there. Yeah, it's weird. Four control stations for one Redeemer-sized hangar. Yeah, it is kind of odd, isn't it? I could see them repurposing that in some way, though. I could totally see that. Going down to a deck below, it looks like it's just, again, more engineering corridors and stuff. I don't know what this room down here is. Again, sometimes you can just click on things. It says tech wall, floor. Again, more interior CG spaces. Again, a lot of this ship is centered around getting you to the turrets, right? That's what a lot of it is designed for. If I circle around over this way, I want to show you one other thing. Let me rotate up. Now let me turn all the parts and pieces back on. You'll notice that the ship has two docking collars on this side. So there's two docking collars. And it has two docking collars on the other side. So this ship has a ton of docking collars, okay, just right there. In addition, let me rotate us around here if the computer plays ball. You remember that viewing room from the Squadron 42 Open? That is this room here. Let me zoom us up to it here. Again, this is a pretty big CG file. Did I say turret 42? Squadron 42? Turrety 42? You can see here is that file, which is on habitation. Tell you, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. Let me turn the rest of this stuff off so it works efficiently. So here's that room connected towards habitation. This is where you will do your character creation in Squadron 42. Your character is essentially sitting on this railing right here, looking out towards the fleet, which is flying by, and you look out these windows and see the fleet. So you get a good view of them. There's a big bangle coming across right here. So pretty cool, pretty cool. Again, obviously there's a lot to go in here. I am wanting to get the fully textured version of this. I don't have it right now. Obviously, I hope to have it at some point. So again, hopefully you enjoyed that. I just wanted to sort of kind of deep dive, figure out the Javelin with you all, dig into it again. I'm working on a Shipyard episode that will fully explore the Javelin. I'm hoping we get more information at Invictus about the Javelin. It'd be a great time for CIG to sort of pull back the curtain on this ship and show us the changes that have been made to it. Again, one thing I'll show you real quick here. If you look at the exterior design of this ship, a lot has changed on the exterior. I've showed this many times on my streams. For those of you who've seen it, I apologize. But, you know, if I bring up some of this imagery, you'll notice that a lot has changed on the new Idris. This is from the Squadron 42 gameplay. You'll notice that the engines are completely different now. They're these like chevron engines here. No longer are we doing these type engines on the side. It's now these have been changed. Another thing that won't take you long to see is a lot of the exterior detailing work is just completely different now. They changed the look of the exterior of the Javelin. Same thing with the Idris, actually. Here's another closer image. You'll notice in the current model, these little winglets, for example, they're just pretty simple shaped winglets, but you'll notice on the new Squadron 42 version here of the ship, which I do think we will get, you'll see these winglets have become a lot more detail and have some different contour lines to them. Pretty much the entirety of the exterior has changed in major ways, okay? So we are probably going to get that updated exterior, and I personally am just hoping during Invictus they'll pull back the curtain on that, expose what they've been up to, you know, on the ship, both it and the Idris, to be quite honest with you. But what do you all think? Do you think Victoria says dorsal spine looks more robust? Yeah, it does. It looks a lot more robust. I'll pull this back up here, go full screen with it. You'll see not only is it a lot more robust, but I want to point out something too. In this newer version, you see this? See this? See these two? What do you think those are? There's another one back here. Those are PDCs. You can actually see this one firing. This ship has a ton of point defense cannons on it. As a matter of fact, I think, do I have that image? Let me look real quick. I can show you something kind of interesting. Is it on this image? Yeah, so on this image, you can see that they've changed some of the turrets down here, right? Changed some of the turrets. You can see right here, we have a point defense cannon. We have a point defense cannon here. They completely changed the way this window looks. Remember how I showed you the one window and it had kind of the big struts? They've removed a lot of those big struts now. So now it's a pretty big open window here, right? But it's a little hard to see, but there's a lot of PDCs going back. There's another one mounted here, and all those I'm sure are duplicated on the other side. You have these two big primary turrets. They look like dual size 7s. This here is a kind of a unique gun as well. I'm not exactly sure what that is. It claims these. Maybe we're just seeing it from a different angle. But again, you can clearly see all the exterior cladding has totally changed. You can see the two docking collars here. Remember where we showed two docking collars on both port and starboard side? You can see that here. You can see those dual size 7s sticking out up there. But again, PDCs all over this thing. There was one angle, and again, you can see the new engines, those cantilevered kind of chevron-based engines. They have brought those over to the Idris as well. Again, are we going to see the new Idris exterior at Invictus, or is CIG going to do a behind the ships or a ship-based show to highlight those changes? I don't know. But I hope so. I hope we get a little bit more information in regards to that. Dash 9701, thank you for that follow. Really, really appreciate the support, everyone. You are all amazing, and I appreciate it. So the Javelin, I mean, it's evolved. This is a ship that has evolved all the way going back to, what was that first video we watched, 2015? That Javelin blockout. And the Javelin has just evolved into where we are at now. Now, some leaks that have come out are from engineering consoles in the Javelin files as currently. And actually, that's not one. Let me go to one. Yeah, this is one. This is a screen from a Javelin engineering console inside the current most up-to-date Javelin. This is in the game files. And one thing you'll notice here, if you look at the engines, they're showing those new engines. These are not the old school engines. These are the new engines, okay? Which, again, furthers the evidence for me that the Aegis is getting an updated exterior for the backers, right? Again, you can look at these little winglets here. You can see how the winglets have changed. The back engines have changed. Front engines have changed. This file is called Aegis V2 damage screens ship B Javelin BG. So maybe this is just sort of being considered Javelin version 2, but remember, Squadron 42 takes place technically in the past. So from the PU. So I fundamentally do think we are getting the updated Javelin, the updated Idris. I do think that's happening. I've talked about that at length on my streams before. And again, I'll bring up some more screens here. You can see those changes made. Previously on the Javelin, for example, these torpedo tubes were open. There was no hatch covers there. They have now added hatch covers. And in the Squadron 42 gameplay demo, you actually see those hatches open and it fire a torpedo. By the way, everyone in chat, feel free to ask questions. Put them in brackets if you can, and I will answer to the best of my knowledge. Crimson Hogmoss's question, do you think they'd remove the strut that blocks the Idris pilot's view? I do think they'll remove it and clean that up. I don't know if in the newer Idris images they show that. No, it's a little harder to see. This is the new Idris. You see it's got those like chevron engines on it as well. This is the new Idris exterior. Let me see. Can't see it here, but what you can see in this image is that the bridge has changed a bit on the Idris. A lot of this rear part of the bridge is fundamentally different. You can see the entire backside now has a sloping backside, whereas previously it sloped downward and inwards, down and inward. Now it slopes down and outward. So that, again, they've changed a lot of this. They've changed how the turrets are embedded in the ship, changed the engines here. Again, you're seeing those chevron-based engines. So when you ask Crimson, do you think they'd remove that strut? I think we almost have to get out of that mindset and wonder what haven't they changed in whatever this version of the Idris is. It's quite clear that they've changed a lot about this ship. And it would shock me if those struts were not changed. Again, let me see, do we have... trying to see if there's an image of the new Idris bridge. See, to me, it doesn't look like there's any major strut up there anymore. So to me, it looks like it was removed. To me, it looks like they removed it. Now, the real question is if this new exterior is going to be sort of kept secret for as much as possible until Squadron. We don't know. We don't know. But I do think it was good that they gave the Idris the glow up. A lot of you may be wondering, and you can see here all this external detail work on the Javelin. This didn't exist before, by the way. The Javelin was a much simpler looking ship. Same with the Idris. You may be wondering why they have gone so crazy on changing the exterior. I can tell you right now, the primary reason was because of the Polaris. The Polaris was so detailed on its exterior. It was so fleshed out that CIG was really in a place where they had to give their hero ships, the Javelin and the Idris, they really had to give them a glow up. It was time to give them some love and attention, and make them stand up to the Polaris. Now, I'm pretty sure that the updates to these ships started happening back all the way back when the Polaris was in development. But I think they knew, and I think they could read the tea leaves, that the Idris and Javelin needed an advancement. The game and some of the level of details had really pushed beyond what the Idris was. The Idris, even more so than the Javelin, was a pretty simple exterior. And not just in terms of geometry, but CIG is doing new things with with shaders that allow them to put more detail into the ships just through shader work. You see a lot of this prevalent in the Polaris, by the way. A lot of it in the Polaris. So yeah. Everyone, if you haven't followed the channel, please give the channel a follow. Really appreciate it. Lance Arno, first-time chatter, says the real question is, will the Argo cargo get a bed to log out? I don't know. It's a good question. I'm actually really curious to see how they alter some of the Argo, the Argo bay inside the Idris. Actually, we'll see. Argo cargo needing a bed to log out. Why? Is that because you were just going to live in your Argo cargo? You're just going to live in the verse through that ship. Max Skinny says, yeah, the other larger ships will be just as detailed too. Yeah, I agree. All the big ships are going to get this sort of level of glow up, right? Nacho says it right here in chat, my brother. Who cares about these inferior ship manufacturers? When are we getting our Kraken? Well, I think we're getting the Kraken. We'll start going into production the end of this year. And primarily next year be a heavy in production vehicle. That's what I'm currently thinking. Max Skinny says, question, when are you doing another video like before? Max Skinny, are you referring to my pre-recorded Starjump Shipyard videos where I deep dive like the Kraken, the Crucible, the Endeavor, the ships like that? Is that what you're referring to, Max Skinny? If you are, the answer to that is I'm working on a couple right now. The first one that I'm working on is on the Aegis Nautilus. Oh, Max King says Starjump Grim, the one that was done for 2953. Oh, okay, the cinematics. I've been thinking about doing another cinematic, but if I do it, I want to partner with some people, possibly VMXEO, and I want to do one using Blender. Before I did them in Cinema 4D, I'd like to do it in Blender, so I can more match this Star Citizen lighting and vibe and carry a lot of that texture and shader work over. Personally, that's what I'd like to do. I'm figuring it out. I did a cinematic test in Unreal Engine 4. That was turning out pretty cool. I did not end up finishing it. It was more of an internal test, but it was really cool. I am working on some Shipyard pre-recorded videos, though. Working on the Nautilus first, then the Javelin video, and that's what sort of this episode here was just sort of to research the Javelin, but working on a pre-recorded Javelin episode and then a pre-recorded Genesis Starliner episode. Crimson Moss says, question, is CIG gatekeeping the Cygnus Spider Mine until Squadron 42 releases, or is that more of a non-player vehicle? I don't know. I think it's a non-player vehicle. I haven't heard of anything related to like player-facing files for it. That doesn't mean you won't be able to commandeer one and possibly save it. I don't know. It's hard to know because obviously the Cygnus is present in Squadron 42, but I don't know how much CIG is planning for that to be prevalent in the PU. They really haven't ever talked about the Cygnus mining machine in that way before, but I know the Cygnus is something that a lot of people are very interested in. It's obviously very, very unique looking, looks like a spider, and I think people would like to see it come to the PU. I think it's going to rely on ground-based mining, right? So being able to pull resources up from the ground, and we just have to wait for that functionality to come into the game because we don't have it yet. But we do know it's coming, right? The Pioneer is going to be able to pull resources up through its landing gears. Alistair says, excited for the Nautilus video. I think I'm snagging one at ILW. Yeah, I own the Nautilus. It was a ship that was a goal ship, one that I wanted to purchase. It is expensive. Maybe a little overpriced even. But I really love the idea of mine laying, of like strategic mine laying. That's more my combat jam, more that sort of passive combat sort of gameplay. But it could be defensive or offensive in nature. But I love that style of combat gameplay of like not only laying mines, but retrieving, repairing, rearming, recovery, mine sweeping, all that kind of stuff. I think it's really cool. Nacho says, what chances do you give the Idris on releasing this Invictus? 25% chance. I don't think it's going to happen, but there is a chance. There is a chance. CIG could surprise us. I would say 25%, and that's me being a little pessimistic, Nacho. They could come out of the gate and surprise us. One thing that Execute over at the Info Runners has said is that CIG has said to him, and I've had these hints sent to me by some developers too, that 90s says I said 49%. That is true. I was being optimistic there, though, 90s. Now I'm being pessimistic. But we were told, or I have heard, and Execute was directly told, but I have heard rumblings that we are going to be blown away by the ships releasing this year. Okay, that's what we've been told. So take that for what it is. I think there's a 25% chance on the pessimistic side. That's where I'm going with it. Alistair says my organ is over 100 Polaris, so I don't need one. Rather pick up something different. I think the Nautilus is going to be a key ship. I really do. I think mines are going to be a big deal in Star Citizen, to be totally honest with you. Mine sweeping, mine laying. I actually do think, and think about this, when we get to the point where we do have space stations and all that, no space station is going to be out there without tons of minefields surrounding it. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Dayron Bolton says, are you going to close tonight by talking about the empty displays on the show floor? Well, we did. We did talk about those. I can swing back to them, Dayron. Let's pull up this one right here. Obviously, some empty displays on throw. I don't think there's a huge mystery here of what we're looking at. These red lines here on the wall are obviously referencing Mirai. I think what we got here on day one are 3 flight-ready ships right off the bat, which is interesting. Which is interesting in and of itself because CIG's never done that. Alistair says there's a Mirai logo right out of the flame. What we have here is the Greycat MTC, the Mobile Tactical Center, or whatever they call it. I think it's a mobile ground-based armory. So a ground vehicle that is essentially an armory. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I think that's what it is. And the center here, the MISC Starlancer TAC will be on display. And then over here, we're going to have the Mirai Guardian MX, which is some sort of torpedo or heavy ordnance thing. There have been some references to the Anvil Asgard that could come later in the show. There also could be something that comes for Drake DefenseCon Day. We could get a flight-ready Idris for all we know. We just do not know. We just don't know. It's JoJo TV says, behind the Mirai display is an Anvil display that looks like it would be the perfect size for the Asgard. Assuming it's Valk size, which I think is like 48 meters or so for the Valk. 48 meters, yeah. Supposedly the file references in the code say that Anvil Asgard is going to be flight ready. We'll see. I don't think the Paladin will be there flight ready because of where they updated us on it. Perseus definitely not, obviously. Because again, the Perseus had just crossed its white box gate review and moving into gray box. Max Skinny says, I thought the Asgard was the size of a Carrack. No, all the references we have for it suggest it's around 45 meters or so, give or take. It's essentially Valkyrie sized. We all think it's a Valkyrie variant, ultimately. So yeah, I definitely don't think it's Carrack sized. So yeah, I think you can not worry about that. I don't think it's Carrack sized. If it was, it would be. First off, I think we know more about it, and also I think it would take up a prominent piece of the show floor. So yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they design that Asgard around, though. I am a fan of the Valkyrie. I just don't like drop ships, though, but I love the Valkyrie design. So, again, if it's a really cool ship, it might be something I'm interested in. Lance Arno, thank you for the follow. Sending that Javelin right overhead. Really appreciate that. The biggest question mark for me on this event is that Grey Cat MTC ground vehicle. I just don't know what a mobile tactical center could be. Again, I think it is a ground-based armory, mobile armory with all the FPS ground-based events and content they're delivering. I could see some sort of ground-based armory vehicle making sense. I don't personally find that appealing, but you never know. Let's see here. It's JoJo TV says, also in the ground vehicle hall, there's a center display with a big space in the middle and 2 Novas flanking it. Could be the Atlas platform vehicle shown in the silhouette video. Yeah, that's ultimately what I think it is. And I can go to it here, everyone, so you can see what JoJo's talking about there. Bear with me, my images are loading up. There is a ground combat sort of hall where they're going to focus on a lot of that. And we can't forget that this vehicle was shown in last CitizenCon silhouette video. So we do know another Atlas platform vehicle is coming. We do know that. This is the vehicle we think is the Grey Cat MTC, Mobile Tactical Center. Again, heavily thinking mobile armory here. Carries ammo, carries weapons, carries stuff like that. We'll have to see. But again, this is another vehicle. It's kind of like, well, do we really need another variant of this? I would really be curious on what this is, what function it's bringing to the battlefield that we don't already have. Very curious. Rooster Rage just donated $10 to unlock a new toy for St. Jude. Rooster Rage has donated a ton of money over the course of this St. Jude. Thank you very much, Rooster. Appreciate that. For those of you wanting to donate either on YouTube or Twitch, if you're on YouTube, the link pinned to the top of the chat is there, the Tiltify link. And if you're over on Twitch, I'm putting the link to the Starjump Tiltify right there in chat. There you go. Feel free to donate. This money goes straight to St. Jude, by the way. Does not come to Starjump in any way. Goes to Tiltify, and then Tiltify disperses it to St. Jude directly. This is a direct tie-in with St. Jude and Tiltify. The money going directly to sick kids and their families battling one of the worst things they could battle, cancer, right? Kids of all ages. So really important work there. We're really proud. $10,117 we've raised for the month of April. Absolutely incredible. Thank you all very much. Again, incredible work. 90 says repair vehicle for mechs. Well, here's the thing. We don't have any repair vehicles. It would be cool if they brought something on board like that. I just don't see it coming at this stage because that's a new feature. Now, maybe they're bringing a new feature in like that. We'll have to see. But I doubt any of the new vehicles we're getting tie into any new features. I think they all tie into existing gameplay and features as we currently have them. VG says, it's difficult to believe the Asgard is less than 50 meters if is it to carry heavy hitters into the battlefield. Yeah, it's a little weird to think unless it's just designed around that, and we don't know yet. If it's specifically designed, for example, to carry the Nova tank, it could carry 2. Actually, let's switch over to, I want to switch over to, since we're talking about it, let's switch over to Starjump Fleet Viewer real quick. Unlock our canvas, select all, delete selected. Let's go ahead and add a couple things here. I want to add a Nova. And I want to add, actually, let's add 2 of those. And I want to add a Ballista. Okay. Zoom down here. Select all, top down. So technically, God, is the Nova really that big? Jeez. Okay, so that gives you an idea. Let's add, yeah, I mean, I think if it's designed, so again, you could technically fit it, but you would have to gut the entirety of the Valkyrie out pretty much. And again, this is a variant. If it's an Asgard and it's just based off the Valkyrie, technically you probably could do it, but they would have to really change the interior of that ship, right? Now, if it's a Paladin variant, which I don't think it is, but if it was a Paladin variant, Paladin is a little bit bigger of a ship. You know, possible. Again, requires major changes, but possible. Sorry, everybody. Gives you a little idea of length. Guys, is the ballista really that small? Are my measurements correct here? What is going on? Guess so. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Ape in Space says, YouTube over 90 watching and 18 likes. Hit that like button. Yes, please do. Thank you, Ape in Space. Thank you. If you're watching over on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up and the like button. I really appreciate it. It does help me with that algorithm. Seriously, it's playing to the YouTube algorithm, gods, is hard, but I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Ape in Space. Cody Fox says, I think the Asgard is bigger. It could be. It could be. There is no file that's come out yet that says the Asgard is a certain size. There's just been some files that reference the Valkyrie. That's all we know. But it could be bigger. It could be 60 meters for all we know. Griffin Gaming RPG. Hello, Griffin Gaming, everyone. Give Griffin a salute. We were just talking about this earlier, Griff, at the beginning of the show. I want to highlight it to everyone once again. Quantum Vegas 2955, Saturday, July 12th at Area 15 in Las Vegas. Going to be an absolutely amazing event, 73 days. Very important thing I want to call out about this, everybody, is you have one more day to get that inaugural ticket admission price of $75 for this event. This is going to be a really cool event. Starting May 1st, though, it's going to go to $99, which is still a good early admission price. You want to get in on one of those buckets. Would really love to see you all there if you're in and around the Las Vegas area or you think you can travel there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, going back to the people that are going to be there, and there's been some changes even just recently, which are pretty exciting. I see Commander Fran here. But we have DePoet's going to be a guest host. You all know DePoet's makes amazing tech content. Kim Ellis and Nate Ellis from EE Studios make amazing machinima. I am planning on having Nate on Starjump Station very, very soon. I have talked to him a little bit about it, but we got to get something specifically scheduled, but we're going to do that here within the next week or two. We have Sean Tracy, Senior Director of Tools and Tech Content at CIG, who will be there. Serious Fun, one of the show's moderators, as well as Giffen Gaming RPG. He's here in chat. Everyone give Griff a salute. Commander Fran, who puts on the Beacon event over in Europe. Starjump has provided some stuff for Beacon as well, and I believe I did a panel for Beacon as well one time. We also have Tyler Whitkin, Xylo, as well as Galactica, the Senior Social Media Manager at Cloud Imperium Games. Both of them are going to be there. It's going to be great to see them, get a little FaceTime with them. Nick at Night will also be a special guest. I saw Nick at the Equinox event here in Columbus, Ohio. It was really fun. Nick is on top of it. Nick is a dude that knows how to get things done. There'll be Paul Shelley, the astro historian himself. Be great to meet him in person. I'm very excited for that. Paul had me on his show not too long ago. Great guy. Definitely the lore guru. And then last but not least, or maybe the least, I don't know, Starjump Grim, yours truly, will be there. I'll be talking about space junk or spaceships and some sort of function. I'm starting to map out what I want to talk about there. And we have some ideas. We have some pretty cool ideas, actually. Griff, I got to talk to you soon, actually. Maybe tomorrow we can get together and talk via voice. Great sponsors, by the way, as well. Cloud Imperium Games, Elgato, Icon City, Monster Tech, Thrustmaster, Atmo Esports. The list goes on. Beacon, Starjump, Soul Citizens, Test Squadron, Astros. Again, tons of great sponsors, tons of great panels. You can go to the website. I encourage everyone to do that now. I'm going to post the website in the chat. Make sure you go there. Again, only have a little bit of time to get your inaugural ticket price there for that cool $75. We're only 73 days away from the event. I'm very excited. And I can tell you right now, the location that this place is at, Area 15, is really, really cool. We do have a little promo here. I think I might play that here just because why not? Here we go.
Quantum Vegas 2955 is a community celebration of the Star Citizen universe, uniquely designed to immerse attendees in the creative and technical brilliance of the game. Hosted in the unparalleled conference environment of Area 15 in Las Vegas, Nevada, this inaugural event offers direct access to developers from Cloud Imperium Games, influential community leaders, as well as other Star Citizen backers. This event offers interactive sessions with special guests covering the complexity of game development to community-driven experiences in a unique and intimate setting.
Look at this event place.
Vegas 2955
it's amazing.
is more than a convention. It's an immersive gateway into the Star Citizen legacy, an unmissable highlight on the gaming calendar. For tickets and information, visit
quantumvegas.space
and follow our social media on X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Quantum Vegas 2955. By the community, for the community.
So again, hopefully we can see some of you there. Again, you know, there's going to be a lot of cool people to meet there, fellow Star Citizeners, you know, fellow citizens of the verse, the people you see here on the panel, some CIG employees. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, if you do go and you see me there, definitely grab me, pull me aside, say hello. I'd love to meet people and you know, meet fellow people in the Star Citizen community and make those connections. So I've always enjoyed it, and it's going to be a lot of fun to do that here. So yeah, hopefully you all dig that. And that was dig that. Speaking, look at that segue. Griff, did you get that segue? That was perfectly done. Just saying, that was a perfectly done segue by me. Yes, Mookin says hotel rooms are really cheap too, since Vegas casinos are dipping in revenue right now. So yeah, you could probably get some great deals right now. I do need to go ahead and get that stuff worked out. Thanks for that reminder. Okay, everyone. We talked a lot about today. We talked about St. Jude Play Live. We crossed the $10,000 raised for the month of April mark. That's incredible, everyone. Tomorrow is the last day of April, and just in the last 4 weeks, we've raised $10,117 for St. Jude, sick kids and their families. I want you all in chat to give yourself a big 07. Thank you very, very much for that. That's incredible, right? Tell me, I mean, that's incredible. We still have another month to go. We have some great prizes. Do not forget, everyone, that I'm just going to switch over to it one more time. Let me go to my left monitor. We have some great raffles tomorrow night on Starjump Guardians, streaming on this channel. We're going to do the RSI Polaris Corvette raffle. $100 donation to our Tiltify link for St. Jude will get you a ticket for the RSI Polaris Corvette giveaway. We're giving that away tomorrow. We also have an Anvil Hurricane coming on May 3rd for a $20 donation, and a Nomad Lovestruck starter pack coming on May 6th with a $10 donation. We still have a lot of other prizes to get through. We'll have another RSI Polaris Corvette for the month of May. We have an Anvil Carrack, a Super Hornet, a Gladius Valiant, an Anvil Hawk, Starjump Challenge coins, and custom Fleet Viewer liveries for Starjump Fleet Viewer. So a lot of stuff to come. Really, really exciting. Tomorrow night, again, we're doing a Starjump Guardians episode. We'll give that Polaris away. Now, it's been an incredible show. You all are incredible. It's been an incredible show. But we got to do one more thing, and we've got to send you all over to Starjump Ender. Most of you will know Ender as the person who has spearheaded the Starjump Guardians charity initiatives over the last few years. I am merely helping out this year. But Starjump Ender, this has been his baby. This is what he's been dedicating his life to, even through his own hardships. So we're going to send you over to his channel right now, and I want you to all do a favor for me. If you have not followed Starjump Ender, do me a good favor right now. When I send you over there, I want you to hit follow for Starjump Ender. Do that for me. He's playing some D&D tonight. I'm going to send you over there right now, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate it. I don't really deserve all you hanging out with me, but I appreciate it. I love you all. Big shout out to Blasphemous and Zero State Zero for sending over your communities. I'll make sure to give you all a lot of love on Twitter for those raids, and of course try to repay the favor in the future. Both Blasphemous and Zero have been great Starjump supporters, so I really, really appreciate you. And to all of you in their communities that came over and hung out for the rest of the show with me, thank you very much. Seriously, I appreciate that. Why do you not deserve it? I don't know. I just feel like I'm just here. But thank you very much, Skittles. I appreciate it. I need to be a little less self-deprecating, probably. But everybody, I'm going to send you over to Ender. Make sure you give them that Starjump love. Thank you for hanging out, everybody. Don't forget, do a kind thing for a stranger. Spread that Star Citizen community love around. It can be contagious. Okay, everybody, have a great night. It was fun.